I'm super excited to talk to y'all today. So, if y'all don't know, yesterday was the anniversary of my first five-figure day. Yesterday marked 1 year since I made over $10,000 in a day. Like, I will never forget that day. On March 12th of 2021, I made literally just over $10,000 and I was like in shock. I could not believe that I made that much money. Could not believe it, y'all. So I was like, I want to do a webinar and I want to tell you guys about how I turned what I used to make in a year into what I make at minimum in a month. So I thought that would make a really, really good topic and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So if you don't know, I worked in retail for a very long time. But what's crazy is even with all of that experience, I only got up to the point of making a little bit over $30,000 in a year. Like I literally used to sell 80 billion things in a week. I would make so much money for these corporations. And out of all that money that they would make, I only made a little over $30,000. And at the time, if I would be lying if I said that I didn't think that that was a decent amount of money. Like I had never really had any friends who were entrepreneurs. I had no perception around like entrepreneurship, making money on your own, things of that nature. And so when I started my own business and I started to get friends who had businesses and every so often they would share, how much money they were making and things like that. And I was in shock because they were making so much money. And I was like, wow, I thought I was making a lot. I thought I was doing good out here, but I could have been doing so much better. And so when I started my boutique, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my backstory and like how things progressed and how it worked out for me. But when I started my online boutique, my experience was just like, most of you guys. It didn't start off fantastic. I didn't make a ton of money. I didn't make sales every day. I still don't make sales every day. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I still don't make sales every single day. I still have bad days. But I got to the point where I understood my business well enough that I could control when I made money and also how much money I made. So that's what today's webinar is all about. How I went from making $30,000 a year to making $30,000 in a month. I'm very excited to share that with y'all. So I am about to try to share my screen and hopefully you guys will be able to see my slides and we are going to get started. So obviously, I think a lot of you guys know me, but if you do not, if you're new here, I'm going to briefly introduce myself. So I'm Jans. I go by Jans Charté. I have about 11 years of corporate retail sales experience. I've made multiple six figures in corporate retail sales. So while they were paying me pennies, they were making millions of dollars, billions of dollars. Really crazy when I think about it. I've been self-employed for 3.5 years now. I started my online boutique in November of 2018. And since then, I have made over $745,000 in clothing sales, which is so crazy to me because, again, I was making $30,000 a year. It's super duper wild to think about. So additionally, I started a coaching business. As you guys may know, it's called the Boutique Academy. I started it in June of 2019. So about 6 to 7 months after I started my online boutique, I decided that I would start a coaching business and really just share, what I learned while I was working in retail and also to give you guys a viewpoint of what was going on in my business in real time. As I was making the mistakes and things of that nature. So it started through my YouTube channel, and then eventually we branched off into actual classes and courses and things of that nature. So since then, I've actually served over 4,000 women, and I've made over $1.6 million in digital sales and services. So I wanted to mention that because obviously it's not a boutique, but to be able to sell anything worth over $1 million that's a big thing. And at the end of the day, you have to convince someone to even want to spend their money. So while my boutique has not made $1 million just yet, we're getting very close, as you can see, though. I've also, on the opposite side, made over $1 million selling something to someone. So I wanted to also mention as a last point here that I use the same tools and resources to build both my product and service-based business. And the process that I use for selling is exactly the same. You just need to know who you're talking to. So I learned how to talk to my boutique customers, and I also learned how to talk to those people who wanted to learn how to start an online boutique or an e-commerce business. So that's a little bit about me. So, my mission is a very, very simple one. I want to help as many women as possible create predictable revenue and income for themselves by equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and resources to reach consistent four-figure days, five-figure months, and ultimately their first six-figure year. So I put my website down there. If you've never been to the Boutique Academy's website, check it out. There's some great resources over there. There's some blog posts and just a ton of things that you can definitely learn from. So definitely check that out whenever you have time. So I want to tell y'all a little bit about what I am in the business of doing. So I am in the business of simplifying all of those complex things that people attempt to teach us on the internet every day using big words, unrealistic numbers, and umbrella strategies that don't apply to every industry. I provide real world examples and simplified solutions to your daily e-commerce questions and problems. I do this through the Boutique Academy, where I provide classes and coaching for anyone who's ready to have four-figure days, a five-figure month, and a six-figure year. So I'm on the internet just like everybody else. I'm always learning. I'm always looking for information. I love learning. And so one of the things that I notice when I am, on Instagram or Googling and reading articles and things like that, I noticed that a lot of the concepts and things that we're supposed to be applying in our business sound pretty hard. They sound complex. They don't make it simple to understand. And so it's really important to me to be able to explain something that is actually pretty complex in a simplified way. I understand that not everybody has retail experience. Not everybody has been a salesperson. Not everybody has worked in customer service. Not everybody is on Instagram all day, every day, or has been an Instagram user their entire, adult life. So I understand that a lot of the things that are being taught to us every single day might not make any sense. So I really try my hardest to simplify a lot of the things that are really important to our ability to make our businesses successful. So I'm in the business of simplifying, basically. All right, so let's make sure that you are in the right place for this class. So you're in the right place if, one, you literally have no idea where to even start. So I get it. Again, I still run my online boutique, and I get it because I didn't start from the top, and I'm still not at the top. I didn't start from a place of knowing all the things that I needed to know. I had to learn them over time. So I get it. It looks easy from the outside looking in, but easy sounds too good to be true. And spoiler, it's not easy at all. I learned pretty dang quickly that this was actually going to be one of the hardest things that I had ever done in my entire life. Secondly, you're tired of buying inventory that doesn't sell. So having cute or trendy inventory seems like a winning idea, but you can't figure out why people aren't buying it. I know how that feels as well. I obviously started my boutique and I was buying all this inventory that I thought was cute. I thought it was priced well. I thought the pictures were cute, all those things, but I could not understand why it wasn't selling or why why no one was buying it. So, you might feel like, oh, I have this great inventory. I've spent all this money. Why isn't this money coming back to me? So if that's you, you're in the right room. And then lastly, your sales are non-existent or they're not increasing at all. So the word consistently sounds cool, but there's nothing in business. There is nothing in your business that's consistent, which means that there's no way that your sales can be consistent either. So if you sit down and think about all of the different actions or activities that you have to do or complete in your business, and there's nothing that is consistently happening, if you're not consistently posting, consistently sending emails, consistently running ads, consistently talking about your business, it's really hard for your sales to be consistent either. So let me know in the chat box if you are 1, 2, or 3, or all of them. Let me know which one of these applies most to you, or if only one of them is, applicable to you. Let me know in the chat box. I want to know where we are sitting with things and who I have in the room so we can know. Let me know. Stephanie says, woo, that last slide is loud. Shame on me. It's okay. We're going to get it together. Letitia says, all 1, 2 plus 3, 3, 1, 1, all. Lots of 2s and 3s. Okay. 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 We're all okay. Okay. All right, y'all. We're gonna get you together. She said, baby, that last one. It's okay. It's okay. That's what we're here for. I'm going to get y'all together today. Okay. So we know that you're in the right place. That's good. This is all going to be some really great information for you guys. And I definitely think it'll really help you out. So I want to start by telling you the biggest lesson that I have learned from not only starting a boutique, but also coaching boutique owners. So the biggest thing that I have learned is that most people just want to sell stuff and make some money. So oftentimes we start and we're like, hey, I want to start a business and I want to sell clothes. I want to sell shoes. I want to sell accessories. I simply want to sell something. And as a result of selling that, I would like to collect money. I would like my bank account to become filled with dollars. That's typically what happens when most people start a business. But I've also learned that ain't no real money in that. You're just going to be making random, unpredictable money. So when you say, I just want to sell stuff to women, I just want to sell kids clothes, I just want to, have an online business, I just want to have an online store, you really leave yourself in a state of confusion. And you also leave your audience in a state of confusion. That is one of the biggest things that I have learned through having an online boutique and also coaching other online boutique owners. So I want to share the biggest lesson that I learned working in retail. So a goal can be broken down into a multitude of ways, and big goals require clear steps and the right players on your team. So I wanted to mention what I learned working for someone else, because that really, once I correlated what I used to do to what I'm currently doing, everything started to make so much more sense. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this further into the presentation, but I quickly realized that I am one person, and all of these places that I used to work had multiple people in those, spaces or in those stores, and the multiple people working in those stores, and therefore I was just one person. And I was about to try to perform the job of a large majority of people. That was one thing that I learned really, really quickly. So my start in the boutique industry was no different than anyone else's. I had to fix so many things before I started making real money. And I realized that I didn't have enough players on my team to even help me win this game. So it's a game at the end of the day. We show up online, and, there's a lot of other businesses out there. There's a lot of other people who are selling the same things that we're selling and trying to win the attention or the love of all of these other people online. And so we're actually competing with one another. Even when we don't realize it, we are actually competing for attention all day, every day. So it's a game at the end of the day. And I realized that I was playing this game all by myself and that there was no other players in this game. It was literally just me. So I wanted to put this little disclaimer at the bottom: no hiring necessary just yet. Stick with me. This will all make sense in the end. So I'm not here to tell you, you got to go hire somebody just yet or anything like that. But I am here to tell you that you cannot do this alone. And as long as you try to do it alone, that's going to be the longer that it's going to take you to reach the point of success, or the point that you would like to get as it pertains to revenue. So we're going to talk about that in detail here today. All right, so you probably haven't realized it yet, but you're performing the jobs of a multitude of people. I realized that I was now the sales manager and sales associate. So you're currently in charge of setting sales goals and actually driving the sales and making the money. You're also the marketing coordinator. You're currently in charge of creating and executing marketing campaigns, but maybe even unsure of what a campaign is. You're also the social media manager. So you're in charge of not only creating content, but also posting it, studying the analytics, and engaging with your audience. And then you're the brand photographer. So you're currently in charge of taking all of your photos, but also editing them. You're likely even your own model and don't even like taking pictures. I hear that one a lot. A lot of people are like, before I had a boutique, I didn't even take pictures. I didn't take selfies. I wasn't even on Instagram, like that. So I always find it really ironic that people decide, oh, I'm going to be my own model. And, I'm going to do this on my own and, hope for the best. So right now you're the photographer, and some of you are also the model as well. Another role that you're playing is customer service representative. So you're in charge of responding to your DMs and your emails. You're the problem solver in your own business. And then the last one is accountant, which is a big one. And it's also really funny to me when I think back to the fact that I was my own accountant. You're in charge of managing your finances. And if you're being honest, you don't think you're doing a very good job at it when you look at your bank account. So I know that was me. That was a big one for me. I was out here spending the money, but I wasn't really managing the money. I wasn't doing a great job at making that make sense. I couldn't correlate money coming in and money going out and why my bank account didn't seem to be growing at a fast rate. So I was trying to, because I'm not even going to say that I do or I was trying to perform the job of many people. And that's just 6. That was just 6 roles right there. There are so many other roles that we're playing every single day and we don't even realize it. We have no idea. And so I really wanted to mention that because that alone is what most of the time is stopping us from making the type of money that we want to make and being able to truly do something consistently, because we're performing all of these jobs. It's literally impossible for us to consistently do either of these things because we're jumping from one thing to the next. At one moment of the day, I'm the social media manager. At another moment of the day, I'm the photographer. And then another moment of the day, I'm the customer service representative. I'm literally going back and forth all day, every day. So I could never get to the point of really mastering either of these things or really getting to the point where either of them really makes any sense. So I wanted to mention that. So here's a few things that you're probably experiencing right now. So you're probably not getting very much consistent traffic. So simply having a website or a business, simply having a business that exists isn't enough to drive traffic to its website. I hear all day, every day, people say, I launched my business, a month ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, however long, but I'm not getting very much traffic. Normal, especially if you're jumping back and forth from being the person driving the traffic and the person answering the emails or answering the DMs. If you're in the DMs right now, you can't be the person also driving the traffic. You probably aren't seeing much growth in your email list. So if your traffic isn't consistent, that means you're likely not getting very many new email subscribers. And a bonus, you're not sending many emails in the first place because you don't know what to send them about. I hear that one a lot. So we get that pop up on our website. We go add a Shopify app to give us this extra email capability, and we're collecting email subscribers, but we're not even actually utilizing them. We're not utilizing them to the best of our abilities. So I want you guys to always think about that. Like, I'm collecting all this data and I'm getting all this attention to my business, but am I actually even doing what I need to do to make them be more interested? Am I doing what I need to do to potentially convert them? And then the last thing is that some of your products aren't even being viewed, let alone added to the cart. So you have tons of products on your website, but only a few are actually being viewed. Spoiler, it's probably only the ones you post about, and they're likely only viewed when you post about them. So a lot of times, for example, when we release new arrivals and things of that nature, we get a lot of traffic in that frame of time, that day, and that 5 p.m. when we decide to send that email. It's like, okay, boom, I got all this traffic. Everybody's here. There's a certain level of excitement that you feel. And then once the new arrivals are gone, or, everybody has come, as fast as the wind, and they bought everything that they want, now they're gone. And 9 times out of 10, the things that sold were the things that you posted about enough. But something that you didn't post about, or that, you didn't put at the forefront, didn't sell, or didn't sell as much as all of the other things that you were intentionally posting about. So sometimes we're simply just not doing enough to even put the type of attention that we need on our products to get people interested in them. So these are some of the things that you're probably experiencing right now. And here's why that's likely happening. So the first one being that your marketing is inconsistent. So you're taking action every blue moon. Nothing looks cohesive. It's not telling a story, and you aren't connecting with anyone, let alone your target audience. Plus, it's literally impossible to do anything consistently if you're the only person in charge of all of those jobs. So we just mentioned that, if you're hopping from one role to the next, it's going to be really hard for you to actually drive those consistent sales because you're not consistently in any specific area of your business. You're not consistently in the sales area. You're not consistently in the customer service area. You're not consistently in the social media manager area. You bounce from one to the next. So typically when you're in one area, that area is probably thriving. But when you move to another area that was thriving probably dies down a little bit while that new area is thriving. So our marketing is inconsistent. Next, another thing that is likely happening is not reaching your target audience. So your branding might be not clear, your messaging might not be clear, and your content might not be appealing or consistent, and therefore you're making it nearly impossible to attract and convert your target audience. So it's really hard for you to attract the audience that you want if the content that you're creating isn't consistent. If it's not consistently literally created with them in mind, it's going to be really, really, really hard for people to care and to feel a literal sense of attraction to it. So you're making it a lot harder on yourself to be able to attract your target audience and keep their attention because of your lack of consistency in the content area. And then the last thing that I see as a really huge problem in our industry is that we're not following up. So you've been banking on things just working. You thought that you would be able to just make the sales upon first impression or interaction. So you've been leaving money on the table, and because you haven't been, and you've been leaving money on the table because you haven't been following up. So a lot of times, for example, when we start an online boutique, remember, we don't know everything that there is to know about business. We don't know what a retargeting ad is. We don't know what a welcome series is. We have no idea that we've been getting retargeted via ads our whole life. We had no idea until somebody said, hey, as a business owner, you can retarget people with your ads. So a huge area that is neglected in our industry is following up, because 9 times out of 10, people are not going to buy from you on that first impression. It might be the second interaction with your business or the third one, sometimes even the 7th interaction with your business. It's not always immediate. So when we have that mentality of, oh, this should just work the first time that I do it, or, you know, I posted today and that should have been enough for me to make the sales, we're actually hindering ourselves and hindering our sales ability because we're banking on one action to produce this really big result, when in actuality, it might need to be 3 actions or 5 actions that are going to help us to make the money that we want to make. So inconsistent marketing, we're not reaching our target audience, and we're not following up. Those are 3 things that are likely happening in your business that are ultimately holding you back. So I know you're tired because, again, we're performing all of these jobs. We're literally out here like, I'm literally doing the most. Like, I hear people say all day, every day, I work on my business every day. I work on my business for hours, but I still feel like I'm not getting ahead. I know you're tired because I'm tired. Okay. I'm tired literally every day. This is the hardest work that I've ever done. But I want to tell you guys what is missing. Can I tell you guys what is missing in your business? So the answer to all of my problems was understanding a sales funnel. And you guys may have heard me talk about sales funnels before, but I want to talk about them in a different way today, and I hope that it helps you to understand how sales funnels play a role in your ability to increase your sales, and how it's going to play a role in your ability to basically improve your business. So let's talk about it. Let's get there. All right, so today's training isn't necessarily about sales funnels, but there are 5 big e-commerce mistakes I see happening every day. And before you can build an effective sales funnel, you'll need to fix some mistakes. These are the things that I needed to master and fix to turn my annual salary of $30,000 into my monthly revenue of $30,000 or more. So let's talk about these 5 things that need to be fixed before we can even make this sales funnel do the work that we want it to do for our businesses. So the first thing is brand positioning. So you may or may not have heard of brand positioning before. I'm sure you've heard the word branding or brand, but I want to talk about brand positioning because this is a game changer. When you can wrap your mind around brand positioning, you ultimately are like 12 steps ahead of anyone who does not know or understand brand positioning. So brand positioning is all about owning a unique space in the minds of your target audience. In order to position your brand, they must first be able to identify what it is and also what you offer. So if you guys follow me, I know for a fact that you guys can tell me what I sell. In fact, let me know in the chat box, what does Brazen Boutique sell? Let me know in the quickest amount of words, the simplest amount of words. Let me know in the chat box if you know what Brazen Boutique sells. Put it in the chat box for me. I just want you guys to see the consistency of the answers that we get in the chat box. So let me know before we move on to the next one. Megan says sweatpants, loungewear, sweatpants, 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 not basics, sweatpants, sweatpants, loungewear, sweatpants. You see how consistent it is? It's straight to the point. It's either loungewear or it's sweatpants, or it's those not so basics. Yes, exactly. So if you sent a survey to your audience and you left an open box for them to put, what does our business sell? Would they be able to answer that question in one word, or, a small group of words in a short phrase? Would they be able to explain exactly what you sell in that box without you giving them any clues? If they just looked at your profile, would they be able to tell you what you sell easily? That's what brand positioning is all about. Brand positioning is you doing the necessary work for your audience to be able to immediately identify what you sell as quickly as possible. There should be no confusion whatsoever. And I want you to think about the literal words that they would use if they put in a box what your business sells. The literal words. And you might say, oh, they probably are going to say we sell women's clothing. But guess what? There's so many other businesses that sell women's clothing. I sell women's clothing, but guess what? I want them to be even more specific. I want them to say Brazen Boutique sells sweatpants. Brazen Boutique sells loungewear. Brazen Boutique sells not so basics. I want them to be as clear as possible, so that when they are, sitting at home in their favorite sweatpants, they've worn so much, they've gotten a hole in them. I want them to immediately be like, oh, I know where I can go get sweatpants from, Brazen Boutique. I don't want there to be an instance where they're like, oh, well, this other business, I think they sell sweatpants, but I'm not sure. I've seen them sell sweatpants here and there, but I'm not sure. That might have been at the end of last year, or that might have been last month. I know they switch their collections every single month, so they might not actually have them. I don't want there to be any ounce of confusion or uncertainty. My customers know that Brazen Boutique has sweatpants. They know that for a fact. There's no misunderstanding there. They know it. There's no room that they would not know it. So brand positioning is you allowing your business to hold space in a consumer's brain. They should be able to, I always talk about brand positioning as if your brain is a file cabinet, and that file cabinet has a bunch of folders inside of it. You should know what folder your brand ends up in. So my brand should be in the loungewear folder, and it should also be in the sweatpants folder. That's about it. It could fall into the women's clothing folder, but guess what? There's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of other businesses that could fall into the women's clothing folder. But as we get further down, loungewear, okay, there's probably still some in there, a good number in there, but it's not as big as women's clothing. And then if we simplify it even further down to sweatpants, that number gets even smaller. So it's really, really about you thinking about how you can help your audience to put your brand into a very, very specific folder within their brain. So it's okay if you're not there right now, but I want you guys to understand brand positioning, because that was really a game changer for me. When I started to understand that people don't know what I sell. They know I sell women's clothes, but that's all they know. I was like, okay, that's not enough. That's not enough for someone to remember me every month, or every quarter, or every fall, or every winter. That's not enough. There's a lot of people out here that sell women's clothing. I want it to be so specific. So that's the first thing. Brand positioning. Okay, so the second thing is quality content. So this is a big one. They're all big, but this is a big one. So as e-commerce business owners, our visuals matter a lot more than other businesses. Our content is a potential customer's first impression of our business, and it could also be their last impression. So with that in mind, our content should paint the prettiest picture possible of what our brand is and what we have to offer. So I was joking yesterday with someone about how the internet, all the people on the internet, they will tell us, you got to post 3 to 5 times a day. You got to be consistent with your content. You got to show up. Showing up, but not showing up in a presentable way does not help you. If you're like, oh, I posted today for the sake of consistency, for the sake of me having my 3 to 5 posts, but the post that you shared was not intentionally created, if the post was not, your best work, like every single post should be your best work, really, like every single one. And the reason that it should be your best work, or at least the quality of it should be consistent across the board, the reason for that is because every single post is somebody's potential first impression of your brand. So you don't want the post that you put together 5 minutes ago to be somebody's first impression, because it might not be the best impression. You want every single impression to be potentially the best one. So, for example, I won't lie to you guys, sometimes I fall off the face of the earth on Instagram because I need to sit down and think about, what content do I want to share? What content do I want to create for my audience? I'm not posting just to post for the sake of consistency, and I don't think that that content was worthy of being on my feed. I'm going to make sure that I post and that somebody, like, that post gets attention. Like, people like that post so much that they want to share it with somebody else. That's really, really important to me. So when you're creating your content, I want you to think, is this good enough to be someone's first impression? Always ask yourself that. Is it good enough for it to be someone's first impression? So the second part of this content situation is that your content can be good quality, but that word isn't synonymous with the word original. So I know that a lot of times people are utilizing stock photos, and it's typically because stock photos are easy. I get it. Vendors provide us with stock photography. Vendors provide us with pictures that we can use, and it's easy. It eliminates a job. It eliminates something that we potentially have to spend money on. But guess what? You have to consider how many other businesses shop with that vendor as well and are also utilizing those pictures. So if someone was thinking about that picture that they just saw, and it was a vendor's photo, I want you to always imagine how many other boutique owners might be utilizing that same picture. And now that customer's trying to figure out, where did they see that picture? One. And the second thing is, a couple of brands might come to their head. They might be like, oh, I saw that picture on 3 different boutiques pages today. I don't really know who's to shop with. I don't really know, because neither of them styled it the way that I would have styled it, or neither of them has a model that looks like, my body. I don't know. So guess what? All 3 of you might lose the opportunity to serve that customer because, 1, your content wasn't original, and 2, the model or the person that you chose to showcase that merchandise on doesn't speak to the customer that you were attempting to serve. So I want to reiterate that just because the content is good quality doesn't mean that it's original. And original content is so much better than you utilizing stock photography. So again, stock photos are easy because they're already created. And sometimes overseas vendors have led you to believe that the photos that they use are fair game. They are not fair game. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, because I have heard from some boutique owners who have said, oh yeah, I allow my manufacturer to use my photos, but I've very rarely heard someone say, I willingly gave my content over to my manufacturer and said, sure, you can give this content to your other customers and they can use my photo that I paid money for. I know I wouldn't if I bought all my inventory from, some overseas manufacturer and they asked me, could they use my photos? Absolutely not, because this person whoever buys this merchandise needs to create content with their target audience in mind. Plus, I use my hard-earned money to create this content. I hired the photographer, or I bought the camera, or I bought that new iPhone so that my picture quality could be better. No, they cannot use my photos. So I want to reiterate that 9 times out of 10, that content that they're allowing you to use or telling you that you can use is not theirs. It's not theirs. They have not been given permission to utilize that content. So stock photos and utilizing these photos that these manufacturers have taken from good business owners on the internet is not synonymous with you utilizing original content. That content is not original. So your content needs to be both quality and it also needs to be original. It's really important. And ultimately this content plays a role in your brand positioning. I want you guys to know that. All right, so let's move on to the third thing. So this is a really big one. I feel like I'm going to say this for every one of them because they were so big and they made such a change in my business. So the third thing is strategic pricing. So just because something has a price doesn't make it a strategic selection. Your pricing correlates directly to your revenue potential. Your pricing should be subjective to consumer interest and market interest and never based on what you would personally pay. So a lot of times we start businesses and we're like, oh, I wanted to serve a girl like me. And if we're being honest, that's us trying to take the easy route. We're trying to say, oh, it should be easy for me to make this business work because all of the decisions are going to be based on me. But sometimes basing your business on you isn't clear enough. It might be a segment of you, a portion of you. It might be the loungewear version of you, or it might be the workwear version of you, or it might be the vacation version of you. So sometimes we make decisions in our business and we're like, well, I'm targeting someone like me. Therefore, my opinion is really the only one that matters here. And so when it comes to pricing, we're like, oh, well, I would only pay $25 for this. Therefore, I'm going to price it at $25. But if you really haven't taken the time to truly clarify who your target audience is in detail, and also if you have not done any market research, that pricing might not make sense. You need to be thinking about only two things when it comes to your pricing: your consumers' interest and the market interest. So how is the rest of the market pricing this product? And ultimately, are consumers buying at that price? If yes, then that's probably around the price point that it should be priced at. If no, you might want to go lower or sometimes higher, because sometimes the price is too low and people might think, oh, well, the price is so low that the quality can't be great. You got to think about it. All right, so let's go to the fourth one, which is promotional strategy. So this one, again, was a big one. So when things aren't going well, a promotion or a sale sounds like the solution to all your problems. I know. I've been there. When I was, back in the day, I couldn't sell that merchandise. That merchandise had been sitting for so long, or, I thought that I should have sold at least half of it by now. When I thought about those things, I used to be like, oh, girl, I'm going to go run a sale. Everything's 50% off tomorrow. Everything's 30% off. And it was always everything. It was never like that one thing. It was always everything. Tomorrow only. Everything's 50% off. Everything's $20 or less. It was always everything. And it made no sense. So we always often try to use promotions and sales as a solution to our problems. But solutions should be strategic and well thought out. And oftentimes our last minute sale is not strategic or well thought out. So they should be a stepping stone towards your ability to never be in that position again. Promotions don't really fix sales and marketing problems. They typically just help get rid of inventory. But buying more inventory and not having a promotional strategy will put you back in the same discount and sales cycle. So y'all ain't got to tell me, but I'm sure that multiple people in the room, because I have been there as well, have been in a space where you bought some merchandise. You thought it was going to be the best merchandise ever. You thought your audience was going to love it. They didn't love it, or so you thought, because I'm not even going to say they didn't love it. Sometimes it was our effort. We didn't put enough effort there. But because it didn't sell the way that we thought, we went ahead and marked it down. We ran a sale. Everything this weekend is going to be 50% off. Everything this weekend is buy one, get one free. We're like, oh, girl, no, I got to make some money back, and so on and so forth. And I get it. It works. It works. It's like, okay, well, I made some money. I put some money back in my bank account. I can go put that money towards something else. Absolutely true. For sure. You definitely are going to make some money when you run a sale, especially if people had their eyes on it anyway. But at the end of the day, you put yourself right back in the same space, because guess what? You're about to go buy some more inventory. The inventory is probably not intentionally selected, and you're about to price it based on what you would buy it, or what you would buy it for. And guess what? You're going to be right back here at the end of the month. All right, y'all, everything's 50% off. And that's really how we put ourselves in those spaces where your audience becomes reliant on you having a sale. They're literally waiting for it. They're like, oh, this girl, every month she does 50% off at the end of the month, and they're waiting for it. And at the end of the month, you put yourself back in the same headspace. All right, girl, we made some money back. Okay, let's go do it all over again. So we got to start the branding part, which we talked about. And then we get into, the content and the pricing. When all of these pieces start to work together, guess what? You don't have to run sales anymore. A sale literally gets to be like your last resort. It's like the thing that you really didn't have to do, and it becomes a favor for your audience. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm having a good day today, and I'm super excited about our success or our progress. And you know what? I want to reward my audience by giving them a percentage off of something today. And you also eliminate the likelihood of you being in those spaces where everything needs to be on sale. It's like, nope, I ain't even got to do all that. I'm going to just put this one thing on sale. It's going to be 20% off and my customers are going to buy it. So you need an intentional promotional strategy. When I started thinking about how did I keep putting myself in the space of needing to run a sale to get my money back? When I started thinking about those things, my life started to make a little bit more sense. All right. And then the last thing is product assortment. So we just went through this. So when I asked you guys, what do I sell? That really is me getting very clear about my product assortment. So ask yourself, could someone look at your Instagram profile or website and immediately be able to describe what you sell just from what they see? So if they didn't read any paragraphs, no headers, no text, if they read no words, would they be able to identify just from looking at it what you sell? Outside of women's clothes, outside of shoes, outside of accessories, like would they be able to put it in words that you would use to describe your brand? If not, your product assortment is probably too broad and ultimately impacting your brand recognition. So I'm going to talk about my product assortment a little bit further into the presentation, but I want you guys to know that once I decided that I could sell whatever I want to sell, but ultimately, if I keep selling a whole bunch of whatever, people are not going to be able to identify what my brand offers. Once I clarified that, I knew that I needed to get very clear on what type of products I was going to sell. So again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but those are my 5 big mistakes that I see and that I made, because again, I want you guys to know that I am not, I'm not exempt from this. I made the mistakes and it happened. But even with all of my mistakes, the difference between me and most other new boutique owners was, one, I had extensive sales experience, but I understood that I needed to learn marketing. I knew how to sell because I had been doing it my whole life. I had been a sales associate for half of my adulthood, and for the other half, I had been a sales manager or a store manager. And my whole life revolved around me selling. I didn't have to do marketing. I didn't have to focus on the branding for the store or anything like that. I had to sell the merchandise. So I knew how to do that with my eyes closed. But getting the attention in the first place, child, I didn't know what to do with that. I had no idea where to start. So that was one thing that I immediately recognized about myself. 2, I had customer relations experience, but I needed to learn how to apply it online. So from working in stores, I knew all about customer service. I knew all about getting someone to like me as a salesperson, and really how to use my voice and my words and things like that to convince someone that they needed to buy something. I understood how to do that because I had done it for so long, but I needed to learn how to apply that online. So when someone couldn't see my face, if I wasn't able to talk directly to them, how could I make them feel like they needed to purchase that? I had no idea. Had to figure it out. And then 3, I knew that there was a long list of things that I didn't know, but I willingly allowed myself to make mistakes along the way so that I could learn and grow. I never stopped taking action. So I want to encourage you guys that if you are in a space where you feel like you don't really know what you're doing, or you feel lost, you feel confused, things like that, that's fine. I was confused. Some days I'm still confused about some things, but I was very clear about what I did know, and I stood in that. I stood in what I did know, and I made sure that I applied it to the best of my abilities while making mistakes, while taking action and learning from my mistakes. That was really, really important, and it ultimately played a role in my ability to make the second year of my business extremely great in sales. So that first year, I always tell people, literally, I can't even tell you how the first year went because I truly don't know. I unfortunately was not on Shopify because that was one of my first mistakes that I made. I didn't switch to Shopify until almost a year into my business. I think I was on another platform for about 10 months. And unfortunately, I didn't save any of that sales data. But what I can tell you is that it wasn't very memorable. It wasn't worth, being excited about. It wasn't anything that I would have shouted to the mountaintops about. So So I made mistakes, and I think it's really important that you allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to stand in the fact that you don't know everything. That's fine. The best thing that you can do is continue to take action and learn from your mistakes. So keep moving, don't stop, clarify as you go, okay? All right, so this was the only difference between me and other boutique owners. I knew what I knew, and then I knew what I didn't know. That was it. All right, so let's go back to this idea of a sales funnel. So you've likely heard of a sales funnel, but in today's presentation, I want to break it down into three phrases for further simplicity. So oftentimes when we hear about sales funnels, we hear about, the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, or we hear about awareness and consideration and decision, all of that good stuff. There's a lot of different ways that people talk about sales funnels in the buyer's journey. Even me, I've taught about sales funnels and buyers in the buyer's journey in a multitude of ways. But today, I hope that the information that I'm going to give you guys is a little bit more clear and makes a little bit more sense. All right, so we're going to break this down into three phases. The first one being the initial interaction. So first impressions can make or break the opportunity to make a sale. So we'll discuss putting your best foot forward from day one. And then we'll move into the follow-up. We're all in competition with other brands. So as consumers weigh their options, we'll need ways to stay on their radar and guide them towards the point of purchase. And then the last one is going to be the nurture effect. So the fun is just beginning when they finally become a customer. Now the real relationship begins and you can start making some real money. So if we were going to correlate this to the sales funnel or the buyer's journey, the initial interaction would be the awareness phase. The follow-up would be the middle of the funnel, which is like the consideration. And then the nurture effect would be the bottom of the funnel, which is the decision area of the sales funnel. All right, let's break these down. So funnels are for marketing and for sales. If you've ever wondered, like, what do I even need a sales funnel for? What is a sales funnel? How do I build a sales funnel? Things of that nature. Sales funnels are for marketing and for sales. You literally should have, I won't say you can use, you should have a funnel or 2 or 10 or 12 or 25 of them, literally, for the purpose of effective marketing and effective sales in your business. So I put a little visual here of just an example of what a funnel might look like in photos. So you might have a lead magnet and then you deliver on the promise and then you give them whatever the offer was. They add that merchandise to cart, but when they add it to cart, it might split in 2 different ways. So there's some people that are going to purchase and there's some people that are going to abandon their cart. And when someone abandons the cart, guess what? It becomes a new element of the funnel. That abandoned cart now needs elements that fall from it. So they need a retargeting ad, or they need a abandoned cart email, or they need an abandoned cart text message. They might need all of those things. So a funnel is literally all of the individual actions that your business is going to take to either market your products or promote your products or ultimately drive sales through your business. So because our first impressions don't always produce a purchase, we have to ensure that we are constantly meeting our audience where they are, and you'll need a marketing funnel to produce the results that you want. So that's all sales funnels are about. Sales funnels are about you intentionally placing things in front of your audience at a specific time based on the actions that they have or have not taken, and ultimately towards your ability to make a sale. All right, so let's go back to those 5 big e-commerce mistakes, and we're going to relate those to our funnel here. So those 5 big e-commerce mistakes needed to be fixed so that they could work together to improve my business and create an intentional initial interaction for my audience. So as we talk about that initial interaction, we really want to think about how those 5 big mistakes that I made and that most of us are probably making, we want to think about how those play a role in that initial interaction. So we have branding, our content, we have product assortment, pricing, and then our promotional strategy. All of those elements are going to play a role in whether or not somebody likes your brand upon first impression or first interaction, or if they're like, nope, I don't really care for this one and I'm going to move on. So what did it look like for me to fix my big 5? So my business literally made no sense and no money until I fixed these. I kid you not. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. I literally had to fix all 5 of these things. And when I fixed all 5 of these things, I started making money that I could see in my bank account. That was the turning point in my business, because you could be making sales, absolutely. But until I started seeing the money in my bank account, I was like, oh no, something's wrong. There's something still that's not working. So even right now, there might be some of you guys in the room who are making sales. And when you look at your Shopify, it's like, well, I made sales. But when you look at your bank account, you're like, it doesn't feel like it. Something's missing here. So I fixed those 5 things, and then I started to see money in my bank account. And that was what mattered to me. So let's talk about branding first. So branding, I clarified exactly what I wanted to sell and how I wanted to sell it. I was able to clarify how I wanted to sell it by doing market research. So this is a big one. I think a lot of times we don't do market research, or we feel like we don't know where to begin with market research. Market research can literally be as simple as you going to another brand's Instagram account and watching everything that they do for the next 30 days. You watch how many times they post, you watch what they post about, you watch how they interact with their audience, you look at what ads they're running. It could be a Google search. You type in the best loungewear brands, the best accessories brands, the best whatever it is that you sell. Type that into Google and go study those brands. It could also be you signing up for someone's email list or their text list, or both, and just paying attention to how many times they send an email. What do they send an email about? Take action on their website and see what happens. That's literally you doing market research. It's simply you investigating what somebody's doing, what another brand is doing. So I started doing market research, and that helped me to really zero in on exactly what I wanted to do and ultimately where I wanted my brand to fit in the market. The second thing was content. So by clarifying and doing market research, I was able to determine how I would make my content stand out against my competitors, and also what it needed to look like to attract their audience. So, sometimes people will say, they say, I don't have competition. And I really and truly do not believe that, because, we see competition, or we hear the word competition and we think about it in negative terms. We think about, fighting someone or something like that. But having competition in business just means that you know who else is doing what you're doing and has the audience that you would like to serve. So I started thinking about, what brand has the audience that I would like to serve? When I think about what I want to sell, I need to think about who else sells that, who else sells it in a way that they're making a huge impact. And I studied them. I studied them so long and so hard that I could identify their content. Even if I saw a picture and their name was not attached to it, I would be able to identify that it belonged to them. I studied them that hard. So you want to study other brands really, really hard so that you can determine what they do well, and ultimately what you could probably fix in your business to compete against them. So you want to think about, what does my brand need to look like, sound like, and how does it need to make people feel in order to capture the attention of the audience that those people have. So think about that as you are doing market research. The third thing is product assortment. So by clarifying my brand positioning, I was able to choose a product assortment that would make sense for my target audience and effectively compete in the market. So I could say, this is the brand that is my competitor. For example, I hate this example, but a lot of times people will tell me that Fashion Nova is their competitor. And I get it. Fashion Nova is out here making money. They're out here killing it. It seems like the most obvious brand to compete against, but it's Fashion Nova. And Fashion Nova, if we're being honest, doesn't really have clear branding. They sell a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The last time I checked, Fashion Nova was selling hair extensions and ponytails. I'm very, very confused about it. So I don't want you to think about Fashion Nova. I want you to think about like other big brands that existed before Fashion Nova existed, before the Pretty Little Things came along, before the Boohoo's came along and things like that. Think about just like a brand that you shopped with all the time before those brands existed, where you constantly spent money, or where you know that other people spent money. Think about those brands and study their product assortment, study the pricing for their products, study their promotional strategies, things of that nature. Fourth was pricing. So by doing market research and studying various pricing techniques, I was able to decide what my pricing strategy would be. So I literally would look at every single page of their website by collection. I would go to the tops And I would say, okay, now what's the lowest price top that they have and what's the highest price top that they have? And then I would go over to the dresses. What's the highest price dress that they have and the lowest price dress? And if they had a drop down menu from dresses, guess what? I was going to those as well. I was going to the spaghetti strap dress, the sweater dress, the midi dress, the maxi dress, the all of them. I want to see what's the difference between how you're selling this and how you're selling that. You want to be that specific. Study other brands' pricing. And then the last one being promotional strategy. So by strategically selecting my merchandise and creating intentional content, I was able to showcase my brand positioning. This ultimately allowed me to create a promotional strategy that simply promoted and sold my products rather than relying on sales and discounts. So because I got clear about all these other things, guess what? My brand started to make sense. People could look at it and say, "Ooh, that's a pretty picture. Let me go see what else is on that page." Or, "Oh my God, these are such pretty colors for these sweatpants and they're only $19.90. I'm sold." They were literally able to just see my brand and it was like, okay, I'm in the right place. Or on the opposite side, some people were able to look at it and determine that they weren't in the right place. And that was okay. But I was starting to attract an audience and attract them so consistently that I could literally see my sales growing at a super fast rate because now it made sense. And one big thing that let me know that I was on the right path was when I started to see my return customer rate go up. So I had people not only shopping with me one time, but they were shopping with me multiple times. And then they would tag other people in the comments and say, "Girl, I found us a boutique," or "I found a store just for us." And that let me know that I was doing something right. So now my promotional strategy was simply me promoting my products. It was no longer me needing to run a sale or offer a discount to sell my merchandise. So I wanted to mention that because again, we when we think about promotion or promotional strategy, we might make that or think that it's synonymous with running a promotion, and it's not. You should always be every single day promoting your product. So it was almost like I flipped my definition of promotional, and instead of it being, "Oh, I got to run a sale, I got to offer a discount," instead it was just simply me displaying my products in a way that made sense for my audience. That was literally it. So I fixed my big five and my business started to make sense and it started to make money. All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper. So branding, what is it and why is it special? That's literally all that you're answering or thinking about when you are thinking about branding. You are thinking about what is my business and why is it special? That's it. So when you're thinking about these things, three things I want you to think of is one, your brand's differentiating factors. What makes your brand different or better than similar ones? So when I think about those bigger brands that I want to compete with in the market, I'm asking myself, what makes my business better or special? What can I do better than they do? And I think sometimes we convince ourselves that if we don't have the budget, we don't have the money, we don't have the resources, things like that, that we can't compete, but we can. The internet makes it so easy for small businesses to compete with big ones. And why is that? It's because they have relied so heavily on their, departments. They have a marketing department and they got the customer service department, the sales department, the budget department, all these things. They have these professionals that are doing their job. And granted, they're doing their job well. But now the world has been taken over by social media, real people, influencers, micro influencers, people simply learning how to use their phones and create amazing content. And guess what? We're people. We're people who just so happen to have a business, a small business, and we use our phones for the majority of our business every single day. And to some degree, there's a level of advantage as long as we're utilizing that advantage. We're utilizing the tools that we actually do have. So remember, I mentioned earlier, don't focus on what you don't have or what you don't know. Focus on what you do know. So one thing that I realized was I know how to create content very well. I've always been like, a selfie person. I always took pictures of myself. But in my last job, I created all of the content for our store. I was the social media manager, literally. And part of my job was to make sure that our social media page was up and running and had consistent content and that the following was growing. So I understood how to create content. And that let me know that I can compete here because I understand how to use this platform. I understand how to create quality, good looking content. I let that be a thing that I thought or believed would help me to stand out in relation to my competitors. So ask yourself, what makes my brand different or better than similar ones? The second thing is the features and benefits of the product. So what's so great about the products you sell? You should be able to articulate the value of every single item that your brand offers. If you want people to buy it, you need to be able to explain why. And I literally mean every single product. So if you go to, Fashion Go and LA Showroom or wherever you buy your merchandise from, because I know some of you guys don't sell clothing, if you go to any of these places and you're just selecting merchandise by what it looks like, that's not enough for you to be able to articulate why it's special or why somebody else needs it. You want to think about what the heck do I need to say to make my target audience want this thing? Do I have the right words, or can I think of the right words to say to make them want this? If you can't, you might be making a bad decision product wise for your business. So always ask yourself, what makes this great? What makes this product so great to sell for my business? And then the last thing is what have other people had to say about it? So this is a great time for you to share product reviews and social proof. When you don't have the words, sometimes others will have the words for you, or they provided them to you. And also I want to add that Amazon is an amazing resource. One of my friends actually told me, she was like, just go to Amazon and type in whatever it is that you sell. So I would go type in like microfiber cotton leggings, and all of these products would come up. And guess what I would do? I would read their product description, and I would read the words that people would use in the reviews. So what did other real people have to say about this product? That really helped me to be able to choose words that made sense and that ultimately helped me to know what to say. So think about your brand's differentiating factors, the features and benefits of the products, and what other people have had to say. If you've been collecting reviews, even if it's from your mom, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your best friend, whoever, if they've tried it on at some point, ask them, how do they feel about it? Have them send you a quick message and tell you like, girl, they were so soft. Like, I've never put anything on my body that fit like this or that felt like this. Like, just, you need real people's opinions, and that's going to make positive user-generated content that you can use to your advantage. So that's going to be branding. What is it and why is it special? The next thing is content. So show them why they should care. So I put show in capital letters because you literally need to show them. So I think I don't want to say the worst. I think one of the hard things about learning about content on the internet is that people make content seem a lot easier than it actually is. And not to say that it's hard, but the way that it's taught by a lot of people, it's not necessarily applicable to our business. So with our business, people need to literally be able to see why they should care. So, if your page is currently covered in graphics like flyers for an event that you're sponsoring, or it is covered in quotes and things of that nature, that really doesn't help someone to be able to know and be able to see why they should care. So sometimes I'll go to people's Instagrams and I literally can't tell what they sell, or the products are so mixed in with all of these quotes and graphics and things like that. And it makes it really hard for me to identify what's for sale here. So people should be able to literally look at your page and know what products are being sold. Quotes are cool. The graphics and flyers are cool, but they should not take up your entire page. So here's a few things that you might want to show or share in your content. So the first being your history. How'd you get here? So we all have a story of what happened before we arrived at this very moment in time. Feel free to share it, and you can do that often. So sometimes when I get new inventory, I share that with my audience. Sometimes when I receive, those really big shipments, or I restock something, I'll share a picture of me unpackaging the boxes, or even like a time-lapse video of what's happening. Show them what has happened. Show them how your business has grown or changed over the years. The second thing is your why. What's your reason? So your desire to make money will not produce a connection between you and the consumer. Tell them why they should choose to buy what you have to sell, or tell them why you sell what you sell and why you do what you do. So literally, if you got on your Instagram and said, I started this boutique because I wanted to make money. I started this business because I wanted to quit my job and I wanted to be able to increase my income. If you ever said that in a caption, or you created a graphic that said those words, your audience might look at you crazy, and it ultimately doesn't give them a reason to want to give you money and to help you to do that. So your why needs to be something that is deeper than your desire to make money. Tell them why you chose to sell what you sell, why you chose to do it the way that you're going to do it, or even why you chose to serve the audience that you want to serve. And then your process. So how do you do what you do? So if there's something in particular that you do, whether that be like how you select the merchandise, or even like, a behind the scenes of you on Fashion Go, or if you go to the fashion district or a trade show, things like that, show them that. They want to see, one, that there's a real person who runs this business, two, that there's some actual product, and that if they order the product, or the product is actually going to make it to their doorstep. Those are all really great things to showcase in your content. So give them some behind the scenes views of the work that you do, and explain and let them see what makes you different than the rest. That is really, really important. It's really going to help you to stand out in relation to the people that share either, quotes all day, every day, or the people who only share, those side-by-side pictures, the same product over and over again. Everybody's doing it. Do something different. And the easiest way to do something different is to insert your story, your history, your why, or your process into your content. And that's what I do. Another thing is introduction. An introduction is the easiest way for you to start building trust with your audience. So when you make a new friend, one of the first things that happens is an exchange of names. Introduce yourself and invite them to do the same. So I try to do this on as much as I can when I remember to do it, especially if I see growth in my following. I understand that not everybody has been here for the entirety of my business. Some people have been here for a day. Some people have been here for a week, some people for a month, some people for a year. And so I always try to remember the people that have not been here that long. So these are all screenshots of a time where I introduced myself. I always, start with some short message, and then I say, hey, I'm Jance, owner of Brazen Boutique. And I tell them a little bit about the story, how we got here, how we've changed, how we've evolved over time. And then I give them the opportunity to say something back in the comments. So this is pretty small, but on one of the posts, I got 425 likes. On the other one, I got 512 likes. So every time I take some time to introduce myself, I typically get a very good response from that content because it's different. Not every boutique owner is out here introducing themselves. There's a lot of boutique owners that run their business and people have no idea who they are. They've never even taken the time to say their name. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea who they're about to give their money to. That's really important because people aren't stupid. They know that there's probably one person on the other side of this screen, and that one person is potentially about to collect their money. I think it's really important for someone to know your name, or to know somebody's name, or to know some type of detail about this business to let them know that they can trust it. So an introduction is the easiest way to start building trust with your audience. All right, let's see. So most importantly, you want to make your content look better. So remember, a first impression is potentially going to be a lasting impression. And that first impression might also be someone's last impression. We don't want it to be their last impression. We want it to be a first impression, a lasting one, something that causes them to want to stick around, something that causes them to want to learn more, and ultimately that causes them to want to shop and spend money. So most importantly, you got to make this content look better. If it looks good right now, that's great, but there's always room for better. So I wanted to show y'all how my content has progressed over time. I honestly hate looking at it. I think it's so funny to see how it has changed over time, but I also like looking at it because it lets me know that I have done some amazing work to get to the point that I am at. And it also reminds me that I kept working even when I didn't know what I was doing. I kept trying, I kept going, I kept attempting to make it better, to change it, to do something that I thought might appeal to someone. So this kind probably looks a little crazy. It's very colorful, as you can see. It has definitely changed over time. I seem to have had like some love for the color pink or something like that. I don't know. But I think from the beginning, I always thought or knew that I wanted my business to be colorful. And ironically, now a lot of my merchandise is very colorful. So I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but I was attempting, and it wasn't bad. I'm not going to say that it was bad, but when you looked at it as a whole, it was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like the individual pieces of content, it was cool. It was like, okay, that's cute. But if you looked at it like this, it's like, I don't know, girl. So I literally put them in order of how it progressed over time. So the first picture that you see to the far left is literally the very bottom of my Instagram. Very first image all the way up to what's that, 15. So my first 15 posts ever. And again, I wasn't mad at that. That looked good to me, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And it also was not what it needed to be able to attract the type of customer that I wanted to attract. So it changed over time. It went through its cycle. It went through some things. And then this is how it progressed. So eventually I went from being extremely colorful to more toned down, more neutral. I was like, okay, let's see what happens if we get rid of all this color. It's a little crazy. It's a little bright. It might be a little scary to some people. Let's see what happens if we tone it down. So I left myself the room to try new things, to experiment, to do the very opposite of what I was doing, and to see how that worked. And I won't lie to y'all, I actually enjoyed the neutrals. I thought it was really pretty. I was like, okay, this is cute. I can live here. I can do it. But it changed. You can see I went from doing majority photos on like a backdrop, and then I went to more lifestyle images. I started implementing more graphics, like promotional graphics and things of that nature, and it was cool. But you can also see, probably a little small, but you might also be able to see that there's like, graphics that say a sale is happening, or, Black Friday. It was not very, but to some degree promotional. It was definitely like, I'm trying to make some money here. So as it progressed, if we go to the last two images, those will be as close to what my content looks like today. So I do work with a professional photographer sometimes, but I still take some of my content myself with my iPhone. So I've learned over time, what I want to be a professionally taken piece of content, or a professionally taken photo, and also what is okay for me to create myself, or if I'm being honest, what I don't trust somebody else to create for me, and something that I'm going to allow somebody else to create for me. So there are certain things that I still create for myself these days, but a good portion of my content is professionally taken. So the last image that you see is as close to what my content looks like today. As you can see, there's color, but not as bright of a color. And instead of the backgrounds being where the color is, instead it's the product. So I knew that I always wanted my content to be colorful and that I wanted the colors to stand out, but I was doing it wrong. So now my backgrounds stay neutral, white, tan, gray, like very soft and subtle. And then I let the colors of the products pop out on the page. So I love what my content looks like today. And still, even now, even though I love what it looks like, I still allow it to evolve over time. And ultimately, I'm going to allow it to get better. So your content should progressively get better, not get worse over time. Always remember that. It's okay to experiment, but experiment and let it get better. Don't experiment and it gets worse. So just to elaborate a little bit more on that, one of the big mistakes I see happening is that people start out from day one working with professional photographers, and when the professional photographer is no longer in their budget, now they want to create their content themselves. But remember, a first impression is a lasting impression. So if the first impression was professional quality content, those professional photos, that's what your audience expects to see moving forward. So if you switch and the content now is not the same and it's 10 times worse, it's not nearly the same, that's going to hinder someone's impression of your brand. It might cause them to have a opposite, a negative impression. So always remember that if you're going to start with a professional photographer or professionally created content, you need to be able to maintain that, because remember, the name of the game is consistency. Can I consistently do this? Can I consistently offer this? What does it need to consistently be? All right, so let's talk about product assortment now. So product assortment, I learned to highlight individual products. So people have a short attention span, so stop trying to sell everything to them all at once, especially when the products are not complementary. So when we talk about promotional strategy, for example, when I sit down and decide how much money I would like to make, the second part of that is me deciding where that money is going to come from. So instead of it being, well, I have $5,000 worth of inventory, and some of that inventory is dresses, some of it's bottoms, some of it's tops, some of it's shorts, some of it's tank tops. Instead, I say, well, my tops are worth this amount, my bottoms are worth this amount, my dresses are worth this amount, so on and so forth. And I choose what is going to get showcased in my promotional efforts. So when someone sees my content, I am not trying to sell them everything at once. 9 times out of 10, I'm trying to sell them 1 to 2 things. And then ultimately, when they get to my website, now I'm going to showcase those other things to them. So through the, frequently bought together area, or through like a retargeting ad, or some pop-up that's going to upsell a complimentary product, things of that nature. I learned to highlight individual products, or highlighting individual products ultimately helped me to keep my audience's attention, and more specifically, to keep their attention on something in particular. And then make it obvious what you want them to care about. So obviously, I want you to buy everything, but I understand that trying to make them buy everything is not going to work out the way that I want it to. So I stopped being random with my content marketing, and I started being intentional about what I posted and how often I posted about it. So I post about sweatpants and jogger sets so much, you would think that those are the only 2 products that I sell. But I also sell bodysuits and tank tops, and sometimes I have dresses, and sometimes I have short sets too. Sometimes I have a crochet cardigan. Sometimes I have other things. But when a customer looks at my profile, 9 times out of 10, they can immediately pull out, oh, this place sells jogger sets and they sell sweatpants. That's intentional. It's literally on purpose. And just because it looks that way doesn't mean that I'm not making money from the other things. All right, so I wanted to show you guys a literal visual of how focusing on specific products impacted my sales. So these are screenshots from some of my sales from 2021. So this specific screenshot is showing my top products sold by units. So the majority of my sales came from 3 primary items in 2021. My top 3 products in quantity sold were 1 style of sweatpants. So I sell, or have sold, a multitude of styles of sweatpants, but there's 1 style in particular that makes up the bulk of my items sold, or in numbers or in quantity. And then my number 4 and number 5 top items in quantity were 1 style of bodysuit. So 2 individual products, 1 style of sweatpants and 1 style of a bodysuit. Those items combined amounted to $111,977.49 of my total sales in 2021. Over $100,000 came from 2 products. And guess why that happened? Because I allowed the attention to be on those products as much as I possibly could. And then once they got to my website, once they were signed up for my email list, once they were, getting retargeted with ads and things like that, then I tried to sell them all the other things. So I focused on what I knew would make me money, or what I wanted to make me money. And guess what? It made me money. So those 2 products, 2 styles, made over $100,000 for my business last year. And these are also the top units sold. So if we look at the top 5 products by amount of money made rather than the number of items sold, sweatpants accounted to $102,737.05. So that's just in my top 5 products. My top 5 products were the Perfect Spring sweatpants, the Perfect Spring sweatpants, that one's the plus size version, the Perfect Fall sweatpants, and then the number 5 item down there is the Perfect Sweats 2.0. So the first 3 options there are the same sweatpants. I just named them differently. And then the last item there is a different style of sweatpants. But those items combined in product type amounted to $102,737.05. So again, I kept my audience's attention on something in particular, and it made them want it because they saw it so much. It's kind of like repetition makes someone want something. The more they see it, the more likely they are to want to buy it. The less they see it, the harder it is to convince them to want to buy it. So by me continuously saying, this is what we have, these are the colors that we have, this is what other people are saying about this product, it's almost like it psychs people into wanting the thing, whatever that thing is. Yours doesn't have to be sweatpants, it doesn't have to be jogger sets, it could be whatever you want. Ultimately, you just need to figure out how to make them want it. And you make them want it by showing it to them enough times and showing it to them in a way that actually appeals to their eye. So one more screenshot. So if we look at my top 10 products by amount of money made rather than number of items sold, sweatpants accounted for $112,007.68. So this is in my top 10 products. Sweatpants by themselves made $112,007. And total last year, I made I think like $469, well, 440, because once you take out taxes, because taxes gets calculated into your sales. So when you take out taxes, I made $440,158, and $112,007.68 came from sweatpants, but that's just in my top 10. So if we move to my top 20, there's a bunch of other styles of sweatpants that are in there. So again, this one style of product accounted for 23.8% of my total sales for the year. And guess what? Now I can use that as a basis of decision making this year. So I can say, okay, last year I bought this quantity of sweatpants, I sold this many, and this is how much money I made from it. Cool. Now in 2022, I would like this percentage of my sales to come from this product. And that lets me know, one, let me go back and look at how I sold this merchandise, keep that going if it's working. But also, it lets me know how many of them I need to have, how many I need to sell per month, so on and so forth. So I can use what has happened already to my advantage to make better or smarter decisions. All right, so now let's move on to pricing. So there are 3 things you need to know as it pertains to pricing. Pricing's not that hard. Definitely some strategy should be involved. You shouldn't, choose it randomly, but there are 3 primary things you need to know. So the first is how much you want to sell it for. The second is how much your competitors are selling it for. And the third is how much your audience is willing to spend. Simple as can be. Those are the 3 things you need to know. So for the first one, how much you want to sell it for. Simply put, how much money would you like to collect every time you sell one? That's all you want to know. How much do you want to collect? Period. But don't forget to consider your profits. So you could say, well, I want to sell this for $25, but if you bought it for $19, that doesn't leave you much profit. And when we think about the fact that we want money to land in our bank account and we want it to be money that we actually can see, you also want to consider your profit. So ask yourself, how much money do you want to collect, but also how much money do you want to profit? Secondly, you want to ask yourself how much your competitors are selling it for. So where else can people buy this from, and how much is it being sold for there? So if I go to, any other boutique, I'm making note of how much they're selling their sweatpants for. If I go to Old Navy, to Target, to anywhere that sells a very simple pair of sweatpants in a multitude of colors, I'm just making mental notes of how much my competitors are selling it for. So that doesn't mean that, if Target's selling theirs for more, I'm going to go make my price higher necessarily, but more so to say that I'm keeping that as a reference of if I get a different style, or maybe, I get a different style and the quality is a little bit better, I might be able to sell this product for, more money than I was initially going to price it for. And then the third thing is how much your audience is willing to spend. So where is the product being sold well, or where is it being sold out? That's important. So if I go to someone's website and I look at the sweatpants and it's sold out, let me make a mental note of that. Again, not necessarily going to go raise my price of, my best selling product, but that leaves me some space in my brain to say, oh, well, if I get another pair, let me test out selling it for a little bit more, a little bit higher of a price. And that way I might be able to cushion my bank account a little bit more. So where is the product being sold well, or where is it sold out? What price has it sold for? And also just ask your audience how much they would be willing to pay for it if you're unsure. So anytime you're searching for or sourcing new merchandise and you're unsure about whether or not you should get it, and your decision is based on price, if you're not sure if you should price it higher or lower or things of that nature, just ask your audience, throw that screenshot up and say, how much would you pay for this? Let them lead the conversation or lead the decision. And then from there, you can decide whether or not you would be willing to sell it for that or not. Because remember, one of the things that you have to ask yourself is, how much do I want to sell it for? So your audience might say, well, I would buy this for $45, but you might say, well, I actually want to sell it for $60. So if your audience will only spend $45 on it, it might not make sense for you to get it. On the opposite side, you could get it and say, I'm going to price it at $60, with it in mind that your audience is willing to pay $45, but you're going to see what you can do to convince them that $60 is worth it. So all of these perspectives are necessary and can be really helpful in your decision making as it pertains to pricing. So one thing that I realized was that there was a multitude of ways to reach my sales goal. So I want you guys to always know that this business, e-commerce, especially for boutiques, it's a numbers game at the end of the day. So just to give you a simple example, if I wanted to make $2,000, let's say I had 100 cardigans, I can sell 100 cardigans at $20, and that's going to make me $2,000. But I could also sell those cardigans for $31.90, and that will make me $3,190 or $3,190. Two ways, a multitude of ways I could go about that. I could price it at $25. I could price it at $19.99. I could price it at $45. I could price it however I want, but I should also be considering how much money I would like to make from those products. That's a really important thing for you to clarify. So if I actually wanted to only make $2,000, guess what? I could price them at $31.90, which is going to make me potentially $3,190. And I'm not going to be mad at that because I made more money than I actually wanted to make. But if I price it at $31.90, I'm leaving myself the room to potentially make more than I actually wanted to, and enough room to discount it if necessary and still make the money that I wanted to make. So never price your merchandise off the bat, like, oh, well, I would pay $25, or I think $25 is the right price, I'm gonna go there. Instead, think about how you can give yourself a little bit more cushion to, if you need to, price it lower, or offer a small discount and still be able to make the amount of money that you want to make. So two sides of a coin to think about: how much money you want to make and how much you want to sell it for. Two things to think about. All right, so not the last one. I think we have two more. So promotional strategy. So highlighting individual products again. No, we went through this one. I'm lying. Okay, let's go here. Lead magnet. I'm lying. So I realized I needed to be able to continue to talk to them, and I needed to control when the communication happened with my audience. So once I've gotten their attention and they're here, they're on my page, they're, liking and commenting and things like that. Well, you following me isn't necessarily enough for me to be able to keep you. It's also not enough for me to have control over what happens. So I can't say that, oh, because someone followed me, they're going to see all my content, because we know the algorithm is not necessarily on our side, or we feel like it's not on our side. And therefore, we might have 10,000 followers, but not all 10,000 of them are going to see our content. So we have to start thinking about, how can I have some more control over this, and more specifically, more control over how many people see my content? How can I have more control over that? So this is where lead magnets come into play. So if you make a good first impression, you resonate with them and give them a call to action, you'll have an opportunity to seal the deal in the future. So a lead magnet, just to put it as simply as possible, is something that people feel attracted to, like a magnet. They feel attracted to it, and you're going to use that to your advantage to be able to collect their contact information. That's it. So when you offer someone 15% off their first transaction, or if they, sign up for your email list, they get a PDF, a download or something like that, or get a free gift with purchase. Anything that you're offering them in exchange for their email address or their phone number is a lead magnet. Everybody needs a lead magnet. I truly believe that you should at least attempt to utilize a lead magnet. Now, you might have a business that thrives without you having to offer a discount. I want you to know you don't have to offer a discount. I actually put some examples here. For whatever reason, they're all like weirdly spaced, but we have some examples here of lead magnets. So there's a challenge or a game. So if you've ever seen the spinning wheel, that's considered a game. You can give a discount, obviously. You could do quizzes. So you could do like a style quiz, or if you sell like skincare, do a skincare quiz. A tutorial, if you sell something that deems necessary for you to have a tutorial, do a tutorial. A checklist, if there's something that you can provide them insight on, you can provide a checklist, or you could do a free gift. Who doesn't like free? Everybody likes free. You could offer a free gift in exchange for their email address. So these are examples of lead magnets, and 9 times out of 10, most people are not just going to give you their email address. Some people are like, give me a reason to give you my email address. And one of your biggest goals in business should be to move people from whatever social media platform they first discover you on, because that's typically where they discover you. You want to get them somewhere else, you want to literally lead them off of that platform to another place that you have control over. So you don't have control over your social media. You don't own that. Your social media page can get shut down tomorrow. You might get your knock on wood, but you could get your page hacked, and now you've lost all of your followers. There's so much that can happen on social media simply because we don't own that space. So one of your biggest goals should be to get people off that platform and onto a list where you have control over the communication efforts between your brand and that person. So Great salespeople know how to get people to trust them enough to leave their contact information behind. People don't just give their contact information to strangers or people that they don't think they can trust. So think about, for example, if you've ever gone to a store and they were trying to get you to sign up for a credit card. They're like, if you sign up for this credit card today, you're going to save 20% on your purchase. You're going to save this amount of money, like you're going to save. And it sounds good. Everybody would be lying if they said that it didn't sound good to save money on that transaction. When you think about how much you're about to spend without that coupon, and you know how much you could save if you use the coupon, it sounds very tempting. But one thing that you're thinking about is, one, can I trust this person? Because I got to give them my contact information. In some instances, sometimes you get to input it yourself. But you might be thinking, can I trust this person? Can I trust this business enough to give them this information? How are they going to use my information? There might be questions that these people have. So a great salesperson can convince a person to leave their contact information behind. So if you struggle with getting people to sign up for your email list or your text list or any of those things, it's likely that people don't feel a sense of trust just yet. And I'm using just yet because we're going to get there. You're going to get these people on your list. So I want you to know that you're not Michael Jordan. The first shot probably won't be a slam dunk. And you're not Steph Curry. You likely won't get 3 points here. This was a free throw. Your efforts decide if you get that first point. So that first point is if they're going to sign up for your email list. You might miss. You might ask them, sign up for our email list, get 10% off your purchase today. You might say, sign up for our email list to get $5 off your first purchase or your next purchase or whatever. You might miss, but guess what? You need to try it again. So when you do a free throw, guess what? You don't get just one shot typically. My sisters play basketball. I am not a basketball expert here. Anyway, you typically get 2 shots. So you shot once, you missed. I'm going to need you to follow up. You definitely need to follow up and see if you can make it the second time. As y'all are dribbling down the court, you want to see if you can make more shots. So don't feel like you lost them the first time. You want to follow up. That is a really, really important thing for you to do. And I want you to know that the way that you did it the first time might not work the second time. So that 10% off might not appeal to someone. You can try again next week and say, okay, well, this week only, we're offering 25% off of when you sign up for our email list. There's going to be way more people that jump at 25% than the number of people that jumped at 10%. And I want you to know that doesn't have to be a forever thing. Now, granted, if you notice that you're getting way more signups at 25% than 10%, I would say leave it at 25%. But know that you have the room. It's your job, your responsibility. You have the permission to make that lead magnet be whatever you want it to be. So you can decide that you want to offer $5 off, $10 off. You could even decide you want to offer 50% off for a day to all your new email subscribers. You get to decide whatever you want it to be. So always remember that whatever you chose today doesn't have to be what it is forever. You can offer something else. And that really helped me to grow my email list because I always changed up what the offer was. And I always tested out different offers. So sometimes it was a % off, sometimes it was $1 off, sometimes it was a % off of a certain amount of money spent or a certain dollar amount off of a certain amount of money spent. You get to decide those things. And I think it's really important for you to test them out. All right, so you made your free throw. Now what? Now we got to talk about the ingredients of the follow-up. So following up with your audience is really, really important. Once you have that initial interaction, remember, you might not make the shot that time. You might not make the sale. It might not happen. That's okay, because a lot of the money that businesses make are not in the first interaction. It's in the follow-up. It's in that second, third, seventh interaction. And I know it sounds sucky to have to follow up with somebody that many times, but once you start to realize, oh, wow, when I send this 5th retargeting ad or this 5th abandoned cart email or whatever it is that you send, when you start to see money coming in, you're willing to do the most. You're willing to do a little bit extra, go the extra mile to potentially get the result that you want. So you just need to do more and follow up so that you have the opportunity to potentially win them over. So let's talk about the ingredients of the follow-up. I have listed here email, text, ads, and social media. These are all methods or ways that you could be following up with your audience. So it doesn't have to be just social media. It doesn't have to be just email. It doesn't have to be text. It doesn't have to be ads. These all can play a role in your ability to follow up and follow through and get the result that you want. And ultimately, these are elements of your business's sales funnel, or they should be parts of your sales funnel. So your funnel isn't just one thing. It can be a multitude of things, and it should be. So remember, we talked about hiring your team earlier and how you can't do all the things. You can't be the one person, the only person doing all the work all day. Well, this is where your team comes into play. Those emails, those texts, those ads, your social media, those are your team members. Those are the people that you need to hire. Those are the people that you need in place to help you make the type of money that you want to make, that consistent money, to have that consistent traffic, to have that consistency going on in your business. You need to be consistently utilizing your employees. These are your employees. Let's talk about them. So emails, send them. Text, send them. If you don't bring them to work, you know how like a store might have a call-in list, you're on call. Like, you're not on the schedule per se, but you're on call. We gonna call you if we need you. All of these things are on call. Email, I'm gonna call you when I need you. Text, I'm gonna call you when I need you. Ads, they might be at work every day. Maybe. They might not have a day off ever. Social media might be on, might be off, might be on call, maybe, might be every day. Somebody needs to be every day except for you. You cannot be the only entity. You cannot be the only person in your business that shows up for work every day. Somebody needs to be there to help you. You need an assistant. You need an assistant store manager and a sales manager, somebody to help you do the thing that you want to do, because you have to go do something else. When you have to step away to go to the fashion district and buy some inventory or go to a trade show, you don't want the sales to stop in your business. You want to keep making money. And the only way that you can do that is if you still have things or people in place to help you to do that. So that's where your email, your text, your ads, your social media are going to come into play. So email, send them. Text, send them. Ads, decide how you're going to use them besides trying to make sales, because ads can do a multitude of things. You don't have to only use them to make sales. And then social media, those 3 to 5 posts a day mean nothing to an audience of people who don't know you, don't know what your brand offers, or if they don't care about your brand. You have to use your team to the best of your abilities, because otherwise it's not going to work out. It's really not going to work out. And this was a big realization for me. I realized that I was doing it by myself. I was trying to cut corners, and I didn't even know I was trying to cut corners, but I was trying to cut corners. I was like, oh no, this is going to be organic. I'm going to attract all these people on social media, and I'm going to post more than the average amount of posts that other people put up, and I'm going to do organic things. I'm not going to send emails. I'm not going to send texts, because those cost money. And every time my email list grows, I'm going to have to spend more money. There was all these things that I was like, I'm not going to do. And guess what? My business was not doing nothing either. I wasn't making no money. It was crazy. I did not understand. Yes, I was not making money. Okay. Company meeting. You need a company meeting. Everybody, we need a come to Jesus meeting. Like, everybody needs to be in the room. We need to make sure that everybody knows their role. What's your job? You got it? Okay, great. You know your job? Okay, great. Now let's all work together to get this money. All right. So your marketing funnel. So all of these elements are going to play a role in your marketing funnel. So you have your lead magnet, you have your promise, the offer, people add the cart, they abandon the cart, or they purchase. So all of your elements, your employees are going to play roles here. So you might use social media to get people enticed about your lead magnet. You might share a post tomorrow that says, hey, this week only, when you sign up for our email list, you are going to receive 30% off of your first transaction. So you're using social media to get them on the email list. And guess what? Now it's the email list time to do its thing. It's time for it to no longer be on call. It's time for it to show up. And within the email list, you might have multiple employees. So you have your campaigns. Your campaigns are one employee. And then you have your automations or your flows. That's another employee. And then within flows, there might be multiple employees. So within flows, you have your welcome series. That's an employee. And you have your abandoned cart emails. That's an employee. You have your thank you emails. That's an employee. Your win back emails. Those are all employees of your business. They are all in charge of doing something in particular to help you drive sales in your business. So You use social media to get them to the email list. Now the email list needs to deliver on what the heck you said you were going to do. So give them that coupon code, but it also needs to help to nurture and keep them there, make them want to stay. So their welcome series, it's time for it to clock in. Welcome series, do your thing. You're on and you're never getting off. Like, you work 24/7. If somebody comes to my website at 1:52 a.m., the welcome series needs to be working. It needs to be doing what it needs to do. It needs to be on the clock. If you don't have a welcome series, guess what? When someone comes to your website at 1:52 and they sign up for your email list and they don't get anything, or they don't get the coupon code until noon the next day, that did not make sense. You need a welcome series. It's really, really important for you to have a welcome series. Same for abandoned carts. If they abandon that cart, guess what? Time for the abandoned cart to show up for work, and the abandoned cart doesn't get off. The abandoned cart email needs to come to work, and it needs to keep coming to work and doing that work as many days as it takes for them to get that sale. So to give you perspective, I used to have that one abandoned cart email that Shopify would send on my behalf, and then I wouldn't get the sale, and I was so confused, like, dang, I followed up and I didn't make the money. Guess what? I realized that I could send as many emails as I wanted. It didn't have to be just one. I could send 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, however many I wanted to send. And guess what? Sometimes it would be the 7th email where I would finally get that sale. It was the craziest thing for me to wrap my brain around, but eventually I realized that's the abandoned cart series was just an employee doing its job. It showed up every single day and it did the job that it was supposed to do. Instead of me letting the abandoned cart series come in for one day and then have 6 more days off, instead it was like, you're on for 7 days straight. Okay, you're here. I need you to do your magic. So all of those individual elements that we talked about, the ads, the emails, your social media, the text, they all need to play a role. So when someone abandons the cart, they might get an email, or they might get a text, or they might get an ad. I don't know. They might get all of them. I don't know, but I know that somebody's doing work, because I can't. I'm not here to do it. I'm asleep. My head is on a pillow. I'm not available to log in and answer the question for you. I don't know. I'm asleep. My brain is turned off, but my emails, they're on. My ads, they're on. The text messages, they're on. Social media is on too, because if I schedule those posts, guess what? It gets to be on all night if I wanted to. Those are your employees. Let them do the work for you so that you can make that consistent money that you want to get. Don't turn the things off. Don't psych yourself into believing that you don't need a thing, or that thing can wait. Because I did. Just to give you an idea, I was like, oh, I don't have, I'm not going to use email marketing right now. I was like, I'm not ready. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do anything with it. I didn't send any emails. I didn't have any automations. I had nothing. And guess what? I also made no money from email. And it's so strange, because we get emails every single day from businesses, and yet I didn't want to send an email, and I was a business owner. It made no sense. It made no sense. So don't psych yourself into believing that you do not need something, because you need it. You absolutely do. These businesses that we aspire to be one day, they're utilizing all the things that we're scared to use, that we're not going to use, that we're scared to spend our money on. I'm pretty sure there's somebody who's scared to spend the money for the business as well, because they don't know if that money's coming back. The beautiful thing, or the cool thing, but beautiful thing about ads is that we're all equals when it comes to ads. If I spend $5 and somebody else spends $500 and we're targeting the same audience, if that audience don't want what neither one of us has to offer, we both lose. Just because they spent $500 didn't make this ad perform any better for them. They still lost. So I got the winning end of this thing, because I only spent $5. They spent $500. They're scared too. They don't know what's going to happen. It's part of business. You got to take the leap. Take a leap of faith, take the risk, and see what happens. It sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. It sucks to spend your money and not make no money back. It really does. But I started to understand that those ads that I was avoiding, those emails that I was avoiding, those texts that I was avoiding, that was me avoiding money. It was me avoiding sales, and I didn't even realize it. So you need to be connecting with people at every level of the funnel. Your employees need to connect with your audience while you do other work in your business. So when I decide I got to go do a photo shoot, when I decide I got to go create a social media strategy, when I decide that I got to go to the fashion district, when I decide that I have to go do something else for my business, those other parts shouldn't stop simply because I stopped doing something. there needs to be something in place to keep that going, because that's the only way that I can have the type of consistency and results that I desire. So your employees are your ads, your emails, your texts, and your social media. Until you can hire somebody to take over those areas of your business, even still, they're still employees. That person that takes them over, they're just the manager. They manage it for you. They create it for you, but the actual thing needs to still do the work. So always remember that everybody needs employees. Even if you're a one person business, one man, one woman show, it's okay. You can have employees too. Let them do the work for you. All right. So you need to be connecting with people at every level of the funnel. So I stopped relying on Shopify as one attempt to recover my sales. I think it's really important that one of the first things that you should do, which is one of the first things that I did, was elevate your email marketing experience. So I stopped using that Shopify one follow-up and I started using Klaviyo. But I use Klaviyo now, but before I used Klaviyo, I was using an app called Consistent Cart. And Consistent Cart lets you create up to, I want to say 3 follow-up emails. So if someone abandoned their cart on my website, they would get up to 3 emails to remind them about their cart, which I loved because it was 3 opportunities for me to win it back. Instead of that one that Shopify gave me, I now had 3 opportunities to win that sale. So Consistent Cart, but now I use Klaviyo. And all of my emails, all my automations, my abandoned cart, welcome series, thank you series, win back series, all those things are built out in Klaviyo. And I also want to mention Back in Stock, which is an app that allows people to sign up for notifications when a item is out of stock. So instead of me immediately taking a sold out item down from my website, I leave it up for about 5 to 7 days just to see how many people sign up for a restock alert. And that really helps me to know, 1, if I should get an item back in stock. But 2, I don't have to manually remember or manually go remind these people that this item is back in stock. They get to sign up for a alert or an email or a text, and they'll immediately get alerted when that product becomes back in stock. So I love Back in Stock and I love Klaviyo. I also loved Consistent Cart. I had no problems with it whatsoever, but I wanted to move all my email marketing into one space, and therefore I started using Klaviyo. All right, so my employee of the month is always Klaviyo. So again, I'm keeping it going with this employee situation. I have an employee of the month every month, and my employee of the month is always Klaviyo. Klaviyo shows up. Klaviyo does what it's supposed to do. Klaviyo's a winner. I love Klaviyo. Like, Klaviyo is a hard worker. As long as I let Klaviyo be on, Klaviyo makes me money. Just to give you an example here, I accidentally turned my pop-up off on my website. My pop-up is built through Klaviyo. I turned it off it was off for 30 days. I didn't even realize it because Klaviyo had been my employee of the month. So I had my employee of the month off. I didn't even know. The only time that Klaviyo showed up for me was when I logged in to send a campaign, to send an email. So because my pop-up was turned off, nobody was going through my welcome series. Man, I felt that. I felt it, but I didn't know I was feeling it. Like, I could see the decrease in my sales, but I didn't know that it was because my welcome series wasn't triggering. So when I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So now my welcome series is back on because I now have a pop-up. And I wanted to show you this screenshot of my Klaviyo. So this is actually for the last 30 days. I love Klaviyo's dashboard because it shows me how my emails are performing for me. It shows me how my automations or flows are performing. And it also shows me how my campaigns are performing. And I can clearly see how much money is coming from Klaviyo. So remember, my magic number is $30,000 every single month. Like, my personal goal, I always have a goal, like a bigger goal, but my personal goal is a minimum of $30,000. Like, I love when I can make at least $30,000. So in the last 30 days, I have made $32,502. I can clearly see that in Klaviyo, but that's for my business as a whole. So Klaviyo will show me how much money I've made as a business, but then it will show me how much of that money has come from Klaviyo. So my revenue from Klaviyo is $11,841. That is 36% of that $32,000. So imagine when or if I didn't send any emails. I turned off my automations. I turned off all things related to Klaviyo. Klaviyo is off. I let Klaviyo go on a vacation, an extended one. If I let Klaviyo go on a vacation, guess what? My sales are going to significantly decrease because 36% of my sales have come from my employee of the month, Klaviyo, in the last 30 days. I have to let Klaviyo keep running. Like, I can't give Klaviyo a break. I'm sorry. I just can't. Klaviyo has to show up every single day. But even when, for example, my welcome series is off, so remember, all those elements are employees. My welcome series was off, but I still had money coming through my business. So I don't know how big this is on your screen, but my welcome series in the last 30 days has made me $2,063. So if I had not had a welcome series in the last 30 days, I would have missed out on $2,000, just over $2,000. Underneath that is my abandoned cart series. So I've made $1,499. So if I turned off the abandoned cart, I would have missed out on nearly $1,500. So all of these individual flows and things of that nature play a role in your employee doing the best work possible for you. So having Klaviyo by itself isn't enough to make you money. You also need those campaigns and those flows set up so that they can do the work that you want Klaviyo to do as a whole. So Klaviyo is my employee of the month. I love Klaviyo. I would literally give Klaviyo a trophy every month if I could. If it was real, I would literally give it a bonus. Like, I would give it a bonus. I kid you not. So email marketing should play a huge role in your business. Remember, we talked about the funnel. It usually is broken down into top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So just to relate how your email marketing plays a role in that funnel. At the top of the funnel would be your welcome series. This is where you just, welcome them. You literally just made new friends. Let them know that you're excited to have them here. Welcome them. It is going to be the most fantastic thing that they probably might not be used to receiving from boutique owners, because most boutique owners, they don't know nothing about marketing. I'm going to just say that. They don't know nothing about marketing. So they don't know that they should have a welcome series. So a welcome series, a welcome sequence, you should have one of those. At the middle of the funnel, this is where abandoned carts and like browse abandonment emails live. So if someone leaves something behind, you want to remind them a few times. Don't remind them just one time, remind them a few times. And then you have your bottom of funnel. So your thank you series and your win back series, you can do upsells and cross sales. So you want to thank them for the purchase and give them a reason to come back. So win back emails are like, you haven't been here in 30 days. We missed you. We missed you. Here's a 30% off coupon, a 15% off coupon for your next purchase. Thank them for the purchase that just happened, and then also give them a reason to come back. So email marketing should play a huge role in your business, because ultimately you can't do all those things. You might make someone aware through your content, but you can't meet them where they're at every moment of the day. If they abandon their cart again at 1:52 a.m. and you're asleep, you can't meet them in the cart and remind them, but Klaviyo can. Klaviyo can do that for you. So remember, whatever you use for email marketing, if it's Klaviyo or anything else, it should be doing very, very intentional work for your business. And then we have social media. So social media can play a lot of roles in your funnel. It simply depends on how you choose to use it. So if we are talking about the top of the funnel, this will be content where you're introducing the products, you're sharing things about your brand or your branding elements, you're introducing the owner, and you're following people that you want to engage with. So in this perspective, we're thinking about where people are in the funnel. So the people who are at the top of the funnel, the content that correlates with them would be introducing your products or explaining the features and benefits of your products. You're sharing things about your brand, your mission, your values, things of that nature. Introducing yourself, following people that you want to engage with. The people who are at the middle of the funnel, these are people who've abandoned their cart and things of that nature. You might want to remind them about how many are left of something. So you're just making sure you know how much inventory is left of something and putting a very, very upfront reminder. Hey, this product is selling fast. We got 30 left. We got 3 left. We got 1 left. I don't care if you started with 6. You could say, we only have 6 left. Let these people know how many are left. Put a little fire underneath their bottom so they can come back. So inventory quantity updates, you want to do customer reviews or share customer reviews, user-generated content. So if any customers share product photos or photos of them wearing your product, share that. And you want to engage with people on your timeline. So those people that you followed who were at the top of the funnel, that were new there, that had just followed you, start engaging with those people. And then the bottom of the funnel, create a sense of urgency. So again, you might be just doing more quantity updates and things like that, letting people know when, a sale is going to end, or, it's We only have 2 hours left. This sale is going to end in 20 minutes. There's only this many left, things like that. But you could also utilize discounts and promotions. So one thing that I do is like, I'll say, oh, we saw that 30 of you left this item behind in your cart, and we want to offer you 15% off your next purchase if you go back and finish your transaction or something like that. All right, and then ads. So ads are great, but stop trying to pressure people into marrying you on the first date. So I always think about selling and marketing like dating. You're trying to convince somebody to go on a date with you and ultimately marry you. You want them to feel like they should spend the rest of their life with you. So in other words, not everyone is ready to buy just yet. They might need a second date. So following up. So at the top of the funnel, these are people who are complete strangers, or they even might be lookalike audiences. These are like, when you go and choose people who like Kim Kardashian, fashion, Forever 21, Fashion Nova. Those are complete strangers, and you're hoping that they like your brand. So you want to spend the most money here. You want to spend the most money here. You want to spend the most money here. You don't want to spend all your money with your custom audiences or with the people who have purchased from you before. You want to spend most of your money with the complete strangers. And I know it sounds kind of backwards, but you want to give yourself enough room and opportunity to actually reach these people as many times as you probably need to get them to the next part in the funnel. So at the middle of the funnel, these are going to be people who have visited your website. So you're retargeting people. You're saying, hey, you left this behind. Hey, this sale is about to end. Hey, we just got new arrivals, whatever. You are retargeting people. So these are people who have visited your website, people who have engaged with you on social media. It can even be people who are on your email list. You can literally upload your email list into the Facebook Ads Manager and target your email list via ads. So you want to spend a little bit, but not a ton here. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you're retargeting people who added to cart, people who initiated checkout, or even people who have made a recent purchase. So again, just because you got their money doesn't mean you let the relationship die there. This is a marriage now. We want you to stick around, and you might be married to 2,000 people because you got 2,000 customers at this point. We all married. I need all of y'all to stick around. So I got to follow up and follow through. I got to make you feel wanted. I got to make you feel important. And the only way I can do that is by continuing to give you attention, continuing to put myself or my brand in front of them. So you want to spend the least money here, but you spend the least money here because it doesn't take as much work to convince them to stick around. It doesn't take as much work to convince them to purchase because they've already done it. So the harder you have to work, the more money you probably need to spend. That's the top of the funnel. The less you have to work, the less money you have to spend. That's the bottom of the funnel. All right. Woo. We getting through here. All right. So your audience should match the audience that your message should match the audience that you're speaking to and the level of the funnel that they are at. It should match their current state of awareness. So you want to talk to people like you're trying to get to know them, but you have to know where they are in the funnel. So those people that are at the top of the funnel, they're strangers. I need to think about what they need to know about my business, why we are special, why we're different. That's where your brand positioning comes into play. What do I need to say about my business and my products to make them want to stick around and learn more? The people that are at the middle of the funnel, they've abandoned the cart. You don't have to tell them why your business is special. They probably know it already. They already know you sell sweatpants. They already know you sell club dresses. They already know you sell workwear. You just got to give them that extra push. That might be some reviews that they need to see from somebody else. Some products, some photos where someone else was wearing the product. You don't have to work as hard. And then at the bottom of the funnel, these are people who've added to cart. They purchased from you before. These ads can be like, or messages can be like a coupon code. Following up, just, hey, we miss you. Here's a $5 coupon to use on your next transaction, things of that nature. So the message that you put out there should match the audience that you're trying to speak to at all times, no matter where they are in the funnel. But you got to know where they are in the funnel. All right, and then the last thing is the nurture. So once you got them, you got to nurture them. You got to do something to keep them around. This is the beginning of a lasting friendship. So you might do this through emails, texts, ads, and social media. The beautiful thing about email marketing and text marketing and things like that is that you can segment your list. Segmenting allows you to group your audience together by things that they have in common. So I could group together every person that has bought dresses, every person that's bought matching sets, every person that's bought leggings. I can group them together by something that I know about them. And by doing that, that makes it a lot easier for me to communicate with them. I now know something about you to better craft a message that you might care about. So I wanted to include this bit of information. One thing, this is something that I learned and that immediately clicked for me. So I learned that 80% of your sales will typically come from 20% of your customers. Basically, this means that you need people to come back, not spend money one time. So a lot of times we're putting way too much effort into attracting new customers, when in actuality, we need to be spending a lot of time nurturing our previous customers. We need to make sure that we're giving them our attention, because the larger portion of our sales is going to come from a very small number of customers. So 80% of your customers are going to be one-time customers. Only 20% of your customers are going to be multi-spending customers or multi-transaction customers. So this is where your segments and things come into play. Once I know that these people have purchased this, these people have purchased that, it makes it so much easier for me to communicate with them and also know what products to share with them, what promotions might work for them, so on and so forth. It becomes easier for me to convert them because I've converted them before, and it's always going to be hard to convert a complete stranger. So always remember that 80%, on average, about 80% of your sales are going to come from only 20% of your customers. All right, so within that follow-up, that's where your thank you sequence comes into play. You're using those automated emails to nurture your new relationship. So you want to personalize the thank you email. Don't rely solely on Shopify's automated email. So for example, my thank you email says, hey, thank you so much for shopping with Brazen Boutique. I might say, this is Jans, owner of Brazen Boutique, and I wanted to thank you so much for your purchase. I truly appreciate your support of my small business. And, to show my appreciation, I want to offer you 15% off of your next transaction. So instead of it being like, oh, we got your money, thank you, have a great day, it's like, oh my God, thank you so much from the owner of this business. I appreciate it. And I am extending an offer to you in particular to come back. Instead of it being, oh, thank you so much, you bought something and we're never going to talk to you again. Instead, it's like, I would love to see you again. So personalize your thank you emails. Invite them to reply to the email. So I also say, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to respond to this email. So this helps to humanize your brand even more. You have to respond if they respond. So most people don't know that there's a person on the opposite side of the emails that they receive. They know that somebody has to upload this content, but they don't know that the email, they're not used to. Let's say that they're not used to receiving personalized emails. So I usually tell them, reply to this email if you have any questions, you have anything you want to say. And guess what? People will respond. And I have whole conversations with people all the time. They'll tell me, oh, I love your brand. I love the colors. I love the sweatpants. I bought this and I bought that. They'll even ask questions. Will you get more of this? Will you get that? I was wondering if you could do this. And I take all of that into consideration, because remember, 80% of my sales is going to come from 20% of my customers. So the 20% might be those few people that respond to my emails and give me suggestions and say, hey, I think this will be a great addition to your business. Now I have more insight to make better decisions. So I always give my audience an opportunity to respond to those emails. And then check in and request a review. So make them feel like you remembered them, thank them again, and ask for a review. So down the line, a few days later, I say, hey, thank you so much again for your purchase. I would love if you would leave us a review. Some people offer a discount code. I do not. You definitely can, but make them feel like you remembered them. Hey, and use their name. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Jance. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Bree. Hey, whoever. Use their name. Make them feel like you remembered them and that they were special, and ask them for what you want. Then you have the win back email or text message. This one is going to be for the purpose of reminding people that you exist and hopefully getting them to come back. So automated emails when they haven't purchased in a while. So tell them you miss them. It's sweet, and let them know you care. Let them know what's new. So if they haven't purchased in a while, let them know that there's new stuff here, because they probably have no idea. Offer an incentive to come back and shop. So they haven't shopped in a while, or they have started browsing, but might need an extra push. So this is a great opportunity to say, hey, we want to offer you a coupon code on your next purchase because it's been a while. So offer an incentive sometimes. All right. So my start in the boutique industry, I want to reiterate this. My start in the boutique industry was no different than anyone else's. I had to fix so many things before I started making real money. I had to fix my brand identity because it didn't make sense. I honestly didn't have a brand identity. I had to create one. I had to figure out what it was going to be. I had to fix my content. As y'all saw, it has evolved so much over time. It's changed. The colors, everything about it has changed. It's totally different, and I love it so much. My product assortment, I used to sell a little bit of everything, just like everybody else. I had a little sequins, a little workwear, a little club wear. Y'all had everything. I had to change my pricing. My pricing was very much based on my own perception around pricing and what I thought something was worth. I had to clarify through market research what the pricing maybe should look like. And I had to change my promotional efforts because it didn't make sense. My promotional efforts back then were just trying to, sell the merchandise by any means necessary, even if it meant 50% off. It did not make sense. I had to change so much. So my start was literally like so many other people's. And I really want y'all to know that there is not much separating me from you. The only thing is lack of knowledge sometimes, lack of execution, lack of actually doing the work. I know people always say, do the work, but nobody knows what the work is actually. And I hope that, this webinar helped you to know, like, the work is all these things that you add to your business, those emails and ads and texts, and getting very clear about what it is that you want to sell so that it's communicated well to your audience. And ultimately they feel connected to it enough that they want to make a purchase. So that was only the beginning. And that was the beginning of consistently making $30,000 or more every single month in revenue. So since I've started my boutique, again, like I mentioned, I've been trying to make $30,000 at a minimum every single month. It's like my push goal. I'm like, girl, you got to make at least $30,000. Like, it feels so good to be able to tell myself in 1 month, I made what I would have made in a year. That feels so good to me. So that's my personal number. But since starting my boutique, the most money that I've ever made in a month has been $76,000, y'all. I made $76,000 in just 1 month last year, and I was flabbergasted. And if I'm being honest, I could have made $100,000. I just ran out of inventory. I literally did not have the inventory to be able to make any more money. I sold basically everything that I possibly could sell. So $30,000 is a goal for me, and it was only the beginning of me starting to consistently make money every month. But there's so much more work to do, and each of these elements needs to be completely broken down for maximum comprehension. So we've talked about a little bit about emails. We talked a little bit about social media. We've talked a little bit about ads, but ultimately there's still gaps. There might still be bits and pieces that are missing, or bits and pieces that you may not clearly understand, or you feel like you have further questions or need more of a bigger picture, a more detailed description or explanation of each of those individual elements. So these are all topics that I have been teaching inside of the Boutique Academy for almost 3 years, literally. So if you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned that I started the Boutique Academy in mid-2019, and I've literally been teaching all of these things. I've been teaching them all day, every day, basically. So I want to invite you guys to join us for free. The key word, for free, for 3 days. So if you are not currently experienced, if you have not currently experienced the Boutique Academy, you've never taken a detailed class with me about one topic. So whether that be target audience, or whether that be content marketing, whether it be ads, whether it be studying your analytics, whether it be branding, whatever it is, if you've never taken one detailed class with me about one topic, I want to invite you guys to join us for free inside of the Boutique Academy membership for 3 days, because there are literally classes about all of those topics inside of the monthly membership in detail. All of these individual things, even Klaviyo, I have a whole intro to Klaviyo video inside of the monthly membership. So if you're like, girl, I don't understand email marketing, I need help, guess what? It lives inside of the Boutique Academy's membership. So I want to invite you guys to take it for a test run and see how you like it. And here's what you can expect. You can expect to get immediate access to more than 60 classes hosted by myself and guest experts, because like I mentioned, I don't have everything figured out. I don't know everything. I got a lot figured out, but I don't know it all. And so when I don't know, guess what I do? I invite somebody else into the room to clear it up for us. If we need further clarity about content strategy, if we need further clarity about influencer marketing, if we need further clarity about branding, we need further clarity about accounting, I invite somebody in to teach us those things. And 9 times out of 10, it's someone that I've worked with and someone that I trust. So for example, I brought in my own accountant last month, I believe. Last month. And he and his wife did a whole presentation with us about accounting and finances and how to really have more control over our money. That's so important. So important. So when I don't know, I bring somebody else in. So when you join, you get immediate access to over 60 classes hosted by myself and guest experts. You get full lessons about topics such as branding, target audience, social media strategy, ads, and so much more. So literally for the last, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, we've been talking about ads in detail. I've been breaking it down bit by bit by bit so that my audience can really understand how to utilize ads as it relates to their business and how to use ads as a part of your sales funnel. So literally you get full classes. I'm talking like 2 hours, 3 hours long classes about one topic. We've been here for a little bit over 2 hours, y'all. And we've talked about all these miniature things inside of the membership. There are full lessons about these miniature things that we talked about today. So you get all of these classes about different topics. We also do monthly live Q&As. So every month we come together on Zoom. You can see my face, I can see your face, and you can unmute yourself and ask questions. So if you've ever thought, I need a coach, I need somebody that I can ask questions to. I have this long list of questions inside of my iPhone app or my iPhone notes, and I need somebody to ask the questions. Our live Q&As every month are your opportunity to ask whatever questions you have. No question is left unturned. No question is left unanswered. And if it is left unanswered, it's because I don't have the answer. But I always, and I want to reiterate, always go find someone who can answer that question for you. So monthly live Q&As. We also have weekly classes. So our next one actually is on Monday. We have classes on Mondays and Wednesday mornings. They are always recorded. So if you cannot make it, you will be able to view them at a later time and date. So weekly classes. And then we have monthly guest experts. Every month I bring at least one guest expert to come in and teach a class about something that I know to be extremely important to your business. And then the last thing is that you get early access to enrollment of any Boutique Academy program. So outside of the membership, we also have a class that is specifically for people who need the foundation and fundamental or basics of launching or starting their business on the right foot. And we also have a 12-week accelerated learning program for those women or men who are ready to accelerate their sales and make big money on the internet. So you will get early access to enrollment of any of those classes. So I, again, want to invite y'all to join for free for 3 days. You literally get access to everything. Nothing is locked inside of there during that 3 days. So if you decide you want to stay up for 72 hours straight and watch every single video inside, you are more than welcome to do that. Nothing is locked. If you got it in you to stay up that long, more power to you. I do not. But I want to invite you guys into that room. So I know you showed up today because you're tired of searching for the answers and coming up short. All these people on the internet are sharing information and it just doesn't seem to be adding up, or you can't figure out how to apply it in your business. I get it. I've been there. I've been like, girl, I don't know what you're saying. This is not making sense. Please help me out. Use regular words. Some of you are fed up and some of you are almost ready to quit. I talk to people every day who I have to help them turn it around and say, no, ma'am, we're not quitting today. I know I've been there before. But you really just want to learn how to make some real money from your boutique and stop making so many mistakes. That's it. I know that you don't really want to quit because you wouldn't have started it if you didn't want to quit. I mean, you wouldn't have started it if you wasn't serious about it. So I know that sometimes it gets really hard, but at the end of the day, you simply want to learn how to make money. I know that. And that's what we do every day inside of the Boutique Academy. It takes some people years, even decades, to figure out how some of the things that myself and some of my students have figured out in less than 3 years. So remember, I've only been in business since November of 2018. And in that time, I've made over $745,000. But I've also impacted so many other business owners and their businesses in ways that they never saw and never envisioned for themselves. And they make the kind of money that I make, which is the even crazier thing. So here's some results from some of my students. Someone said, so Jance, I set my goal for $100,000 this year. My first year really taking this seriously. I'm already at $44,000 and it's only 2 months in. We were 2 months into the year and she was already at $44,000 in sales. She says that means that if I only make $5,600 a month, she's going to make her goal. She couldn't believe that. That's crazy. Someone else said, so last month I set my goal for $3,000 and I surpassed it. I tried so hard to hit 7K, but I was $55 short. Look where I am today, and it's a shorter month. She set a goal for $3,000 and she came just short of making $7,000. $7,000, but she only wanted to make $3,000, y'all. And then someone else says, Jess, I made my goal. She shared a screenshot. She made $16,180 that month, which is fantastic. And I don't know if you guys can see, but at the bottom, she shared a screenshot of how much money she made the previous February. That was her February sale. She had only made $42.03 in the previous February. And this time she made $16,000, y'all. $16,000. That's crazy. And then my students are actually learning how to run their business. That's the most important thing to me. So anybody can start a business. Anybody could go buy merchandise. You can choose whatever prices you want, but that doesn't mean that you know how to run a business. And it doesn't mean that you know how to make it profitable. I am very, very, very adamant about people learning how to actually run their business, how to problem solve, how to pivot when things are not going well. So I always ask my students, you know, what have you gained since working with us? And someone says proudest moment is having $3,000 release day. She started making $3,000 when she released new arrivals. Someone says knowledge of these numbers. Proudest moment is doing over $16,000 in February, which is that screenshot that I just showed you guys. Someone said, I went from making $4,000 to $5,000 months to $30,000 to $40,000, thanks to taking notes from your post and your YouTube. Someone says, my boutique pays my bills. That's so important, y'all, because I know that everybody in this room ain't trying to keep that job forever. I know you're not. I know some people love their job, but I know the large majority of people who start a business want that business to one day be able to take care of them. This person says, my boutique pays my bills, but I want to get more serious with it so I can make more money. And then someone else says, managing my inventory. She learned how to manage her inventory better, and she learned a formula for pricing. And now she has 4-figure months. That is so important to me. It's so important to me that people learn how to actually run their business, not just make money, not just make sales and things like that. So this could be you too. My approach is unique and my methods and teachings work because unlike most coaches, I am still running my own online boutique. So a lot of people who coach and teach on the internet aren't running a business anymore. Their business is now coaching. And when they do that, not to say that they're not knowledgeable, but sometimes they become removed from what is actually happening in our space or in our industry. So because I am still actively running it, I'm still experiencing all of the issues that come about, when Instagram introduces a new feature or ads stop working and things like that. I am experiencing it with you guys. So I don't have a huge team. I'm still the brains behind all of my business. And my students get an inside look at my mistakes when I make mistakes and when I fix them and when I make big money every single month. They get an inside view of that. I don't hide anything from them. You get a firsthand front seat view of what it's really like to run a scaling online boutique directly from the source and in the moment. So I don't wait till it's, 6 months later. I'm like, okay, y'all, I got a secret to share about this thing that I did 6 months ago. Instead, I'm like, girl, I just did this thing yesterday and I want to tell y'all about it because it worked and it's changed the entire trajectory of this month. I'm going to tell you about it. So the difference between me and most coaches, especially in our industry, is that I'm still considered a small business owner. I still have bad days. Every day ain't good, but guess what? Every day I'm going to show up and I'm going to tell you how it went. And I'm going to tell you how I did what I did and why it worked and why it's going to work for you. So this too could be you. You could do it. I know that you could do it because I did it. So if you are ready to start your free trial and start learning today, look at my little messed up graphic there. The website is boutiquebrandschool.com/members. That's where you can sign up for the membership. Again, it is free for 72 hours. So if you start it today, if you start it tonight, you get 72 hours for free. You can start it whenever you would like. I would recommend not pushing the button until you're ready to start the free trial. And again, you're not tied to anything. You can cancel it at any time. You don't have to stick around if you do not want to, if you cannot afford it at the moment. I simply want to invite you guys into the room to be able to learn a little bit of something that you may not have known before. So if you're like, hey, I need help with my email marketing, I would say join it and type into that search bar email marketing. You're going to find a whole class about Klaviyo and email marketing. If you're like, I need help with my accounting, my finances, type into that search bar finances. You can watch the finance class. So take what you need while you have the opportunity to do it. If you stay, I would love that. If you leave, it is okay, but I guarantee you that you will want to come back because it is great. Our community is great. We now have just over 1,000 members inside of the membership, and they are so encouraging, so supportive. And I just really love watching every single person thrive and grow and all of those things. So that is my presentation. Again, if you want to sign up, it is boutiquebrandschool.com/members. And if you got any questions, feel free to text me at this number, 314-274-6611. And I, literally, me, a real person, will reply back. If you have any questions about the membership, you have any questions about anything at all, please let me know. I am available to answer anything that you have. If you guys have any questions about anything that I talked about in the presentation here, feel free to drop them in the chat box and I will answer a couple of these questions for you. And then we will be out of here because I'm not going to keep y'all all night. Brandy, the replay will be emailed to you. So whatever email you put in when you signed up, when you registered, it is going to get emailed to you. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. So worth it. Yes. Hold on. Let me turn my camera back around. Let me figure out how to turn my camera back on because, okay, let's see. Bam. Hello, y'all. This was fantastic. How do you feel? Does anyone have any questions? Let me know. I want to answer a couple of questions if I can. Is there a code to use? No, there's no code. So when you sign up, it's going to ask you for your information. It's going to tell you that it is free for 3 days. Yes, you guys are going to get the replay. Let's see. Someone says, how many emails do you think is good to send out a week? So that's a great question. There is no right answer. And the reason that there is no right answer is because it depends on what's going on in your business. So I could send an email once a day. I could send it twice a day. I could send, only 3 a week. It really depends on what's going on in your business. So I know that, for example, email is accounting for about 36% of my sales. So if I said this week, I want this amount of money to come from email marketing, well, if by Friday I haven't made that money, or let's even say Wednesday, you come close to that amount, I know I need to send more emails because Klaviyo isn't performing the way that I needed to perform. So there's no right or wrong answer. I would definitely recommend clarifying exactly what you want to do in your business, what you want to accomplish. That way, you can decide, okay, do I need to send an email? Do I need to send something out to my audience to get the result that I want? Yes, that was a great question. Siobhan said the membership is so worth it, guys. If you're serious about your business, you can't afford not to join. Thank you, Siobhan. Yes, I love it in there, y'all. Is the application for the accelerator open? It is not currently, Shan, but it will be at the end of next week. It will. I'm very excited about it. Any other questions before we go? You're very welcome, Diane. You're welcome, Michelle. There's 2 Michelles in there. You're welcome, Michelle 1 and Michelle 2. You're welcome, Victoria. This has been great. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm just planning on launching my boutique. Will the membership be good for me? Because I really want to start the right way. Yes. So I would definitely recommend signing up for the membership. And one thing I'll also tell you is that I have other classes that are, for example, specific to launching. So that class is sold on the Boutique Academy currently for, I believe, $499. But if you decide that you need a full class that is specific to launching, that same class is inside of the membership for $200 less. So you also have access to other classes inside of the membership for less money, which is great. So yeah, I would definitely sign up for it. I think it gives everyone good perspective around what they need or what they need to know. And that's really gonna help you to know whether or not you need more learning before you actually, put all your money into it or not. You're very welcome. Tiffany says, Jess, this was great. I follow you on IG. However, your video on YouTube launching a boutique made me pay more attention to you. The video was perfect. Boutique video for anyone who wants to start. Good job. Thank you so much, Tiffany. When starting out, did you model your own clothes? It's tough. Yes, I did. So I still model some of my clothes. I didn't get a model until 2 years into my business. So I was in business for a whole 2 years before I got anybody else. I was my own model. I'm going to send my questions for the membership. Okay. As usual, I learned tons. Chance, I hit 6 figures already for my business. Oh, congratulations, Brittany. Brittany, you've been killing it. I've been in business 5+ years, and I'm always open to learning more. I love the membership. I make $30K monthly, but I'm trying to grow even more. Yes, Rashida. I have a question about selling your items separately. When I buy sweatpants, I always pair it with a top because my girls love sets. However, I combine the price together to make a profit, but I get confused on pricing. So you're saying that you don't know how you should price it if you're selling it as a set opposed to selling them separately? Is that what you're saying? I would say consider how you would have priced them by themselves. So if you were to sell them separately, consider what that price would have been and either combine those prices or decide on a price that's like more of a bundle price. So you know how like the stores would do like a buy more, save more type of thing. Or if you buy both of these, you'll save a little bit. So I would say either combine those prices or decide if there's like a certain percentage less that you would sell it for if they're together. This is why you're winning. You give so much clarity. Thank you. Love from Nigeria. Hello. I started a boutique with a group of 5 women and they've all closed. Kind of feel like I should do the same. Haven't been able to make more money. I feel like my bank account doesn't grow. I get it. We talked about it. I talked about it at the beginning. I don't know if you were in here from the beginning, but I talked about it. I was in the same space. And there were those 5 things that I mentioned. Those were the things I needed to fix. Until I fixed those things, I did not see any money. None. I was making money and spending it, making money, spending it. It was constantly recycling. I started my boutique in February and only had 2 sales. Lord help me, membership, here I come. Come on in, Alicia. Come on, girl. We got you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome, Shawana. You are so welcome. So welcome. All right, y'all. Well, this has been a blast. Oh, actually, hold on. Let's see. There's a Q&A. How long will the 72 hours last? It'll last for about a week, Alicia. Alicia wanted to know how long the 72 hours would last. I'm growing, but it's slow. Diane, it's okay. My whole first year, again, if you weren't here from the beginning, my whole first year was so slow that I don't even remember it. I don't even remember it. But if I had mastered the things that I talked about in this presentation in year 1, then it would have made so much more sense. So much more sense. I would have made so much more money. Does a membership occur to other businesses? I currently run a customized jewelry business, but I'm not making money. So the membership is for anyone who sells a physical product. No matter what you sell, all of the classes in there will be applicable. Any class. None of it is like if you sell clothes, it needs to be sold this way. It's like if you have a business, you need to make sure that you understand how to target your audience. If you're running ads, you need to know how to run an ad. Like it's very specific to business in general, not boutiques. What are your thoughts on running an effective giveaway promotion? So I think giveaways are a great way to collect leads, but only if you're giving away something that your audience cares about. So if you don't know enough about your audience to know what to give away, the giveaway isn't necessarily going to be purposeful, or you might not intentionally choose the right things to give away. So the best giveaways are typically something that would appeal to your audience. For example, I'll give away a gift card because that way I don't have to decide or try to give away something that they don't really care about. Instead, it's like, you decide. You have the freedom to decide what you would like to use this money on. Do you offer one-on-one classes? I do not offer one-on-one classes at this time, Adrian. Membership is so good. I sell candles and it's applicable to any product-based business. Do it if you have it. Thank you, Sky. Thanks for sharing that. I'm in the Boutique Academy. Very helpful. Yay, Shawana. Thank you. Great, because I sell candles as well. Yes, perfect. Yes. There's literally people in there that sell everything under the sun. Literally. There's even service providers in the membership. So many people inside of the membership. So I would definitely recommend joining. So much perspective in there, even from the guest experts. That's honestly my favorite part, the guest experts, because again, so many things that I don't know and I'm still learning. I definitely love the guest expert sessions. You don't recommend buying more inventory if I haven't sold out of what I have, but some of my garments are out of season. What should I do? I feel like I'm taking too many breaks trying to figure it out. So I would not recommend buying more inventory if you don't feel like you have a strong hold over what it means or what's necessary for you to be able to sell in general. So I don't ever recommend selling out of everything. And I also don't set my goals around the perspective that I'm going to sell out of everything. Typically, we don't sell out of everything, especially if you don't have like the demand of a bigger business. So instead, I set goals around how much inventory I would like to sell or how much money I would like to make and price my merchandise accordingly so that I make the money that I want to make rather than banking on me selling a specific out of something. So I would definitely say the most important thing that anybody can do, especially if you're struggling to actually sell your merchandise, is learn to sell. And learning to sell is more than just, posting more or learning to send an email. It's really learning how to run a business, how to understand branding, how to apply branding to your content strategy, how to apply your branding to your email marketing, how to apply branding to your ads, things of that nature. So I would definitely say it's really important to learn how to sell. If you feel unclear about that, then I would say you definitely don't want to buy more inventory. You want to figure out what you need to fix in your business. I've yet to launch my boutique, but do you suggest getting your LLC before developing your business plan and structure? Yeah, I would say get your LLC. One, because you don't want somebody else to get the business name in your estate. Yeah, I would go ahead and get your LLC for sure. I have a shoe store, works for anything. Yes, absolutely. How do you find good vendors? You go out and source them. So if you can make it to a fashion to the fashion district, you go to the fashion district. If you can make it to a trade show, go to the trade show. But also you can buy inventory online. And I think an important thing to know is that not every decision is going to be a good one. I'm pretty sure other people just like myself can attest to buying bad inventory. It happens. It's part of the process. It's part of the experience. So literally either you're going out there to go and touch and feel that merchandise or you're buying it and you're learning through trial and error. I would definitely say if you find something that you like, try to build a relationship with those people and ask questions so that you can get a better idea of what this merchandise is, what the quality is, instead of you just taking the risk and not, asking the questions first. If you're wondering about the quality, if it stretches, if it's made of a certain fabrication, reach out and ask the questions before you spend the money. But ultimately, you learn who's a good vendor and a bad vendor by either you go out there and visit them or you buy the merchandise and you learn the hard way. That's it. That is it. Okay, what other questions you got, guys? I'm going to answer 2 more. Let me know. Yes, Diane says, yes, ma'am. It's hard out here. Alicia says, so how long should I keep clothing before marking it down, or what should I do with older inventory? So not everything's going to sell, just like I mentioned. I have bins upon bins of unsold merchandise. I have learned that not every merchandise selection is going to work. It's just not. Sometimes there's literally nothing that I can do to make a piece of inventory work for the audience that I have. So as great as I think that it is, just because I think it's great doesn't mean that it's worth selling to my audience. They might think that it's the worst thing they've ever seen. So I give myself a deadline of how long I will put any effort towards it before I pack it away and donate it or start to give it away as a free gift before I decide I want to sell it all for $5 and call it a day. So I think it's important to choose a time frame for yourself rather than letting somebody else dictate it. And then also know what steps you're going to attempt to take to sell it before you say, forget it, it's not worth my time or effort. How do you go about influencer marketing? So Deanne, I do not use influencer marketing. I've never worked with a single influencer. Every dollar that my business has made has been through me organically doing the work and running ads and sending emails and things like that. I've never worked with an influencer. So there's actually a class on influencer marketing inside of the membership. Someone came in and did a whole session with us about influencer marketing. And in fact, she will be back in the membership in April to host another class about influencer marketing. She's worked for some really big brands in the last couple years, and she's coming back to share some more perspective with us about influencer marketing. I'm glad you explained what you do with it if it doesn't sell. Yeah, Everything doesn't sell, unfortunately. I literally have bins of merchandise. Sometimes I give it away as a free gift. Sometimes I put it all up on leave it in my clearance section. And, I have a weekend where all my clearance items are $20 or less. Sometimes I sell it all for $5. Sometimes I just donate it and get a tax write-off. Sometimes it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I've learned that over time. Every decision that I make is not automatically a great decision. Sometimes it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. All right, guys. Well, this has been a blast. Again, I hope you guys found it super duper helpful. Again, if you're interested in the membership, if you have any questions at all, if you want to ask me anything about membership, feel free to text my text line. The number is 314-274-6611. And I will literally respond to you and answer any questions that you have. The replay will be sent out to you guys shortly. So feel free to replay it as many times as you would like. But otherwise, I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been fun. And I hope to see you inside the membership. All right. Bye, guys.